Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spelunkers, a game exploration podcast. We're nerds, and we get exhausted about talking because we're chunky. Pretty sure those are
that's the
words
intro. That's it.
in some sort of an order. I am Tom. Hi, welcome. This will be fun. I'm joined again by Tyler.
Hi.
Ryan.
Good evening, everybody.
Chris.
What's up?
And this asshole who wouldn't make us our logo. I think he also does some sort of Werehog review on the YouTube. We got Alex
Halo
here.
Warthog.
Yeah, the Halo Warthog.
Yeah,
And Alex is here.
Oh, hi guys. That was great. I'm changing that YouTube channel name, man.
It's very good.
Brilliant.
Yes. And we are playing Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima, the Iki Islands DLC. And we've never played this game before. Ever.
Yeah, we definitely don't have 17 hours worth of content prior to this.
17 hours? I don't think it's 17 hours.
It's a lot.
I think it's like 12 hours.
It might as well
Unless you're planning on making this 5 hours long.
Oh, I can do that.
Well, if
I mean, I
just
guess
said
you could
content.
add the Twitch stuff.
Yeah, to be fair, you just said content. We did a lot of that freaking
That's right.
second episode of the raid or whatever. We streamed for like 5 or 6 hours.
That's
Only
right.
because
See?
somebody couldn't make
Listen
the
to
jumps.
Chris, he knows what we're talking
Excuse
about.
me?
17 hours. of
That
content,
jump is
baby.
literally impossible, sir. I'll have
I don't think it is impossible. But yeah, we're playing Ghost of Tsushima, the Iki Island DLC, and if you don't know our thoughts on the original game, go find it. It's archived here. There's 12 hours of us gushing about this game because was most of our game of the years. Somebody had to throw in Hades, I think. They were very close to being kicked out of the fucking podcast. I'll tell you that right now.
Are you guys all just going to make director's cut your game of the year this year?
No.
Maybe?
I'll do it. I don't give a damn.
Unless this legend stuff that comes out really kicks it in, I don't think that it's going to beat out It Takes Two or Ratchet and Clank. I mean, it is a lot of fun, but
Yeah, Ratchet.
we
and Clank
already
was
played
really good.
Ghost of Tsushima, so it wasn't like there weren't that many more mechanics introduced.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's still a great game. It's still top 10, but I don't think it's going to be number
Like,
one.
there's a lot of content there if you want it, but like the main story content is limited. You know, there's not that much story content there. It's really just the content that is good of Ghost of Tsushima, which is, you know, exploring this world and the environments that they put you into and finding the little nooks and crannies of everything. But because of how limited it is in scope, I don't think it could be my game of the year. I love it to death, but there are so many more games that like came out of nowhere to me that really blew me away. So
there, Chris.
Okay. I mean, I was just curious. You guys do what you want.
Garden Story is game of the year.
And we're not talking about Grape Ape, all right?
Yeah, we're here to record our Games of the Year podcast in September 1st. September 2nd.
Sonic Colors Ultimate is going to be.
Wait, that one's not even out yet, is it?
I played it 11 years ago. It's good.
It was good then, it's better now.
Perfect. Yeah, so I guess let's go to Alex because everybody else can listen to ours. I don't know, just tell us about your experience with the game so far.
I mean, when it came out last year, it quickly like shot up to become like just one of my favorite games overall because it felt like it really scratched an itch that I felt like I've had ever, like for most of my adult life loving video games. I've also really loved like samurai movies and Japanese culture, and especially when it comes to samurai films like you know, Kurosawa films, especially like Red Throne, or I'm sorry, Throne of Blood, Red,
Beard.
just every pretty much any film he did with a samurai in it, I fell in love with, and I was just dying for a game that used that setting in a realistic sense, Because like if you say like, oh, I want a game set in Japan, everybody's like, yeah, there's a billion of those, and they're right. But are any of them like even remotely historically realistic, at least to the level this game is? And I always really loved the Assassin's Creed series, and I know there's that obvious comparison between that series and this game. And that was one of the locations that I always wanted that series to go to, and they clearly have no interest in doing that. But I wanted them to go to that kind of location because I knew that they would do obviously there's that big overarching plot in that series that's very sci-fi, but they would treat the setting with some sense of like historical realism. And Ghost of Tsushima literally just came along and was like, fine, we'll do it. And I was, and booting it up, just like you were saying, with the whole overarching story might not have as much like depth as a lot of other AAA games that came out. I think the real star of Ghost of Tsushima is the island of Tsushima, and how they pretty much presented it as just, this is one of the few games where I don't really mind if I have to travel all the way across the island in my next mission, because I know it's going to be gorgeous. I know there's going to be something that I'll see along the way too that might not even be a side quest. It's just something in that world that's happening. And I just loved being able to play a game that not only took the setting and history of Japan and made it realistic and just generally historically accurate, even though this game took liberties with a lot of the things that happened during this time period, which they kind of had to make it an overarching beginning and end kind of thing. But I just loved a game that not only took a setting and made it in a way that people really haven't seen done in video games before, but they also took a genre, which is samurai films, and did probably one of the best love letters to it without you realizing it is. Like, it's a great samurai game, and obviously they've got the Kurosawa mode, so that's pretty on the nose. But if you didn't have that, this game is really good at telling one of those really old black and white stories with a modern thing like a video game, and doing it so that it's not so blatant, I guess. Then you've got the combat that just is probably some of the best combat I've ever felt in a video game. It felt like I've tried to play a lot of the Souls-like games, and they're just not a genre for me. But I could always tell, especially with the dodge and parry system, that was something that was very satisfying. And I feel like this game took that and toned it down to be a little more accessible, for sure. But the combat just felt like it flowed really well. A lot of the what's it called, stealth stuff as well, even though I love that you can approach situations one of two ways. You can just be head on and just kick down the door if you want to, but you can also go in and have a plan and be stealthy, and that will be equally satisfying. And I don't know, like just the whole experience around that time, especially when we were smack dab in the middle of quarantine too. That was a bummer. Having something where it was just like, oh wow, amazing things still come out and and are great, and I can still enjoy something. It just pretty much took everything. It felt like it took everything that I ever wanted on a wish list for a video game, for me personally, and put it in a game. And it quickly just became one of my favorite games of all time. And then they, came out of nowhere and were like, yep, what if we made a multiplayer mode and you could play this game with your friends, but not against your friends, with your friends. And I was like, you are just the best game.
Now you can play against your friends though tomorrow.
But even then,
Rivals.
in Rivals, you're like not like directly fighting each other, which is even better. It's just like a,
who's the better killing machine?
Yeah, a friendly contest. I love that. It felt like a very toned down version of like when we everybody pretty much said the closest we ever got to world peace was when Pokemon Go came out. Well, we came really close with the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer because everybody would bow to each other, and that was just great. But yeah, I realized I just kind of gushed about that game, but that's pretty much it. It's just one of my favorite games ever. It came along at the perfect time, and it felt like somebody found my wish list of the perfect video game for me and then made it a reality.
So did you play it in Kurosawa mode?
I played the first half of my New Game Plus playthrough in Kurosawa mode, and I tried to get really in depth with it by also turning on Japanese dialogue with English subtitles, and it's awesome and it's really authentic. But let me tell you how difficult it can get sometimes to have subtitles in a black and white grainy mode, because subtitles in the Kurosawa mode are not as big as they would be like on a regular movie. So that took a little bit out of me. And then of course I think everybody's probably said this before, is Kurosawa mode is awesome, but this game is too gorgeous to play it in black and white at the end of the
I've only played it in Kurosawa mode.
Really?
Yep.
It's
He's
gross.
insane.
Not gross.
It's
The biggest thing with that though is like coming into this one, doing like the duels, completely forgot about the unblockable attacks, and it's like, oh, just look for the red glint. There's no fucking red glint.
Oh,
It's just a different glint of the sword.
I tried to replay a few of the duels in Kurosawa mode in black and white with the expert HUD turned on, so you don't even get like a glint. Like there are no.
I've been playing with the expert HUD as well. It's been great.
It's
Well,
tough.
that's like when we were playing the first one, I didn't even know there was life bars or anything above the guys, because there's nothing that isn't in Kurosawa mode. Like there wasn't anything above the players.
That's a really unique experience.
So
I
yeah, I
never
only
thought of
played
that.
that, and then this I was playing on Lethal Plus, which was fucking ridiculous. Like some of these duels took me a long time.
Oh yeah, because Iki Island by itself is already like turned up in terms of like difficulty. As soon as you get on the island, they're basically like, you wanna take a second before you go, because it's about to be really hard.
Did you guys find yourselves fumbling around the combat, like right off the go?
No, for me it was like I did the first like 2 people that came up to me. It was like, okay, let me figure this out again, and then it was just like putting on an old pair of shoes. You know, it felt great. It just felt great. Was happy to be back. It was just a great experience. It was one of those things where I was like, yes, I know exactly what I'm doing. and then I was just started kicking ass, and it's like, I never died in this game except for when I fell off a cliff. That's the only time I ever died, is when I did a terrible time jumping, and that was it. Every other time was like I kick ass at the combat. I'm only playing on lethal, not playing on lethal plus. So I didn't try the new difficulty, but on lethal, and I put the expert HUD on. I was kicking ass. It was great. It felt so good.
Nice,
I definitely fumbled with the stances a little bit. That was the only thing that I like. It's not like I forgot that you needed different stances, but right when I hopped into combat, I was like, wait, how do I switch again? And then,
In all honesty, those guys that can switch between 3 weapons, I was barely switching stances at all. It was all standoffs, and then from the standoffs, I would just go into dropping a smoke bomb and doing the chain assassination. Everybody dies in like one hit, because lethal plus, it's realistic. I mean, I die in one hit, so
that's not honorable.
Oh no, the game told me in the first half that it doesn't fucking matter what you want to do anymore. You're gonna be a dirty, rotten scoundrel, and that's how the game's played.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Alex, that it took a little while to get used to which stance does what thing. But otherwise, I settled back into it pretty quickly. I think it's interesting you made the comparison to From Software games, especially Sekiro. It's very similar. I think you got a lot of comparisons even when the game initially came out. But I think this, I think Sekiro is a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think this game
100%.
makes the combat a lot more interesting. Like there are tools and stuff in Sekiro that you can use to get around enemy weaknesses and stuff. But the fact that every enemy in this game you have to change stance, unless you're playing on lethal, I guess, and you just need to get in one hit, then it doesn't matter. But you need to change to a correct stance, and then they can change their weapon. At least in the DLC, they can change their weapon, and then you need to change stance to match them. But then you're fighting a bunch of enemies with a bunch of different weapons and changing stances repeatedly. I think it makes it more engaging in that way. Not to say that Sekiro is not constantly engaging, because there are a million things flying at you all the time. But I think I like the combat in this more than Sekiro.
Yeah, I switched control schemes coming back because now they offer multiple control schemes. So I'm playing something that is a little bit more from soft control scheme. You got your attack on your shoulder buttons and your triggers. So aside from that control scheme switch, I didn't have too much of too tough of a time. I played a good handful or 4 of hours worth of Legends the week before this dropped. So I was getting, even if it's, Legends is a little different, but I was getting back in the swing of things.
I think one of the main reasons that I started going through it, I'm not changing the stances, is because one of the first things I did was that Legend of Black Hand Riku. And if you get that armor and you dodge perfectly, you can just slaughter like 4 guys in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that
We'll get to
probably,
that, 'cause
I
that
wasn't
was amazing.
parrying so much as I was just
Yeah.
dodging, but yeah. All right. So I guess we'll start up. We start back on Tsushima. Journey into the past starts. You head over to the west coast to Drown Man Shore. You find a Mongol yurt, or a boat, if you don't know what a yurt is. People in the area are fucking nuts and have gone mad, and they're like eating their poop and throwing it around like rabid
I don't
monkeys.
remember the eating poop part.
I mean, they're mad. People do crazy things when they're drinking the sacred medicine.
Do you have video footage of this, Tom?
Oh, you recorded, so
Yeah, all right.
we can all blame
Play
Ryan
back.
if you're watching and you didn't see it because he didn't look around good enough to see the people eating their poop. Yeah, there's a bunch of madness happening. In a hut, you find a young woman, and you find a lot of these. They got their. I tried to look it up what it'd be called for like Mongolians, but it's basically like the stocks, like just the board, their head sticking out in their hands. I tried for like, I don't know, a half hour on the internet, and I could not find what the fuck those would be called. So I just called them stocks. So there you go. She's dead, and you notice that she bit her tongue off. And Jin wonders what these people had endured over in this little camp here by the Mongol yurt. He doesn't recognize the tribe's colors, which, I mean, they're black and white. I don't know why you can't recognize the colors.
They're
Like, come on,
purple.
Jin, what the fuck?
They're purple.
Oh, they're purple.
Tom.
Okay. They're purple.
Very vibrant, beautiful, luscious purple.
Yeah, they're black. So you find a strange altar, and a Mongolian shaman appears and yells, "Samurai, the eagle calls you." And this is your first encounter with the shaman type. And basically, they just start yelling and dancing around, stirring their cohorts into a trance. They can just relentlessly attack you.
Their stagger's higher as well. They take more damage.
These
Yeah,
guys
like-
fucking suck.
Yeah,
They
basically
kill 'em in one hit,
turns,
then I guess
turns
it doesn't
those
matter.
enemies up to like nightmare mode health and stagger.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yep, they suck.
I love them.
Hey.
I think it's a great
Yeah.
addition
I
to
didn't mind
combat.
them. I didn't really
Yeah,
notice
no, I
too
mean,
much of a difference.
it was a cool addition, but I mean, as far as like what they do, it's like, oh, this makes combat a lot harder. So it's like every time they would pop up, it was like, I need to take the shaman out immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They definitely force you to like actually strategize how you're gonna fight if you're gonna do like an actual sword fight and standoff instead of just standing there and be like, all right, you come to me, now you come to me.
Yeah.
Now you actually have to like be active about it, which is definitely a cool mix up. And I also, just to note, had like 3 or 4 instances of me killing the shaman, but they still kept singing. Like their dead body was still singing. The buff went away, but still like the little noise waves were coming out of the shaman, but they were just dead.
Nice.
Anime as fuck right there.
Yeah, I was still playing with the same tool set, which we can talk a little bit about whether any of the stuff you guys found here made you change up your playstyle from the base game. But I was still mostly playing with the same thing, which is the ghost armor is the biggest thing, which makes it where you only need 5 kills to activate ghost mode. So I was still just ripping through shamans before they could do anything. Because that makes it where your kills are 1 hit even without lethal, Tom.
No, yeah, going into this, I pretty much put on my father's armor right away.
Well, kills are not 1 hit and lethal either. I mean, I don't know about
It's
lethal
not-
plus, but it definitely takes a couple hits in lethal.
It depends on what you hit him with.
Yeah.
Like if you just are swinging your sword at him, yeah, that's not going to kill him. But if you
and
dodge
the
in 1
brutes
hit,
take a couple more hits as well, but it just
so you
depends.
throw a smoke bomb, you stab him in the neck.
I was doing that. I did a little bit of that.
Smoke bombs are still so OP. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, since we're talking about, did you change your play style at all? Because I mean, I obviously in the first half was trying to play like a samurai, until the game pissed me off because your choices don't fucking matter. But I was just using everything in this. So I literally, I mean, I guess we'll get to it, but the charge with the horse, you just fucking knock them all down.
Yeah.
You can just run through guys.
Great addition.
Fun.
But yeah, like I said, otherwise I go into a standoff, then I'll just do the smoke bomb, do the 3-person assassinate, plus when you get the kunai, extra kill, and then just pull out the bow and shoot the last couple of guys with that. So it really wasn't like, oh my god, I'm getting overwhelmed. It was literally like, here's point A, and like here's fucking F, and it's just
Yeah, you were trying to like fit it together like a puzzle, like a straight line puzzle, and fitting it all together. Whereas I was playing it more like a scramble, I would say. I was just going around and picking and choosing how I wanted to do things. So like I would take some guy off from a distance, and then I would come back, and then go back in, take a couple people out with a sword, go back out, throw a bomb at somebody else. Like I did everything. I was all up in their shit with all kinds of stuff. It was fun.
Yeah,
It felt so good. God, I cannot say that enough. It felt so good.
I want to say my play style, like if I tried to like actually have sword fights, I was just so concerned with my resolve because of how higher up the difficulty felt on this island. So I was very reserved. But honestly, I'd say 90% of my encounters were me seeing them in the distance. And I know we'll go into this later too, but one of the side missions in this game pretty much forced me to have an archery build. So my archery build was essentially just maxed out. Like that's what every one of my charms were. So I could just see them before they could see me, and then just go into slow mode, just pick off like 5 or 6 of them at once, and then be like, all right, there's 2 people left. I can do this however I feel like doing it.
No, I was playing pretty well the same way. Very aggressive. I would constantly break enemy staggers. I only still use the Traveler's Armor for most of the expansion. I did go into that Mythic Armor a little bit because that is very good. But I built all around getting resolve as fast as possible, naturally restoring some resolve all the time. So I would be bouncing back and forth between sword stances to stagger and throwing in the is it the lightning strike? The L1, well, it's L1 and square for me, but the uses 3 resolve.
Yeah,
Heavenly Strike.
a sword dance, or is that what it's called?
I thought it was lightning, whatever it is. Heavenly Strike. No, you're right, Tom. You said it. Yeah, I use that a lot because I just gain resolve like mad.
Yeah, I think that's something that every like expansion or DLC struggles with, is offering you tools that make you want to change a style that you used for 50 hours. Because there was at least one charm that you had to like go to the shrine for and everything, and I didn't even write down what it is. I don't remember, but I remember being like, oh, that's intriguing. I won't use that, but thank you.
See, they got to take stuff away from you to force you to use things and try new things, Chris. Just like
That's
that
true.
awful game, Chris Tales.
Hey, I liked that section of that game.
No comment.
All right. Anyway, back to this. Maybe we'll get off the fucking island now. So yeah, there's still a Mongol breathing as you slaughtered the little company that came at you. As I wrote, they didn't stand a chance. So haha. You ask him what they did to the people. He responds that they heard the call of the eagle. Said that they will lead their boats to the shore from the Isle of Iki. At that point, Jin gets a flashback of his father being killed, which will happen many times throughout this playthrough. Calling for help as he is struck down. Yuna shows up. You tell her about the eagle and Iki and how your father had led a group to pacify the people of Iki years ago, and that they hate samurai, and especially him because he's got a weird face.
The butcher of Iki.
Well, that his dad was the butcher of Iki.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
I know, but
He's
that's
the son of the butcher of Iki.
I thought that was super cool that we're going back to the place where his dad was killed, and that there's all this lore and mythos surrounding his dad. I was not.
Well, you didn't
expecting
know that this is where he died, like from the first game, right? They don't say that it was on this island.
I don't think they ever said it.
No. So yeah, I always figured that he just died somewhere on there. Because it just shows like the one guy killing him. So
Yeah, they literally just show the little house and Jen hiding.
Yeah.
So since I was wearing the Sakai armor set, I don't know if this pops up for you guys, but you gain the Jin from Yarakawa skin from the Sakai armor set, which immediately turns mine because I had it on. So that because I was big the standoff, because then you can take 5 guys down right away. But yeah, just basically strips it all down and it's just back down to like its base armor. It doesn't have the shoulder pads, anything like that. It just removes the Sakai logo from the front.
Yeah, it gives that to you no matter what, but it doesn't force you to wear it.
Well, I didn't know if it like it wouldn't tell you unless you tried to put it on, and then it would be like, oh well, you can't. You have to. It'll be this version of it. But
Yeah, and you do get like a little pop up explaining to you why you can't wear the regular version too.
Until later in the game,
Because
they can try. Dirty peasants, raiders. There's peasants over there too. They're not all raiders.
A lot of them are.
Anyway, they hate the samurai. So yay! So you get to go.
Clan Sakai.
Yeah, they don't like Sakai at all. You go and speak to the boatman, and you can set sail for Fort Sakai. He says he's never seen the sea this angry. It is quite the storm on your way, and your boat is capsized, and shit goes awry. Your horse goes swimming off into nothing. You fall asleep, and you wake up, and you're Ariel from The Little Mermaid, and you have legs. And the crabs start running by, and you can sing. Oh, is that not what? I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
You can play your
She loses her
flute.
voice.
You can play your. No, well, I mean, could Ariel play a flute? I guess she could probably.
She
still
played
play
a harp.
Maybe.
Well, that doesn't use her voice.
This
She got her voice stolen.
This is interesting,
I know.
and this is probably a question that none of us know the answer to. But so you can do this DLC, I'm pretty sure, right when you get to the second act, is what I've read.
Yeah, you have to beat the first act to get to the second part of the island.
Yeah, so he like when his horse is missing, and also later with the inventor friend whose name I cannot remember. I apologize. He references their deaths, which happen at the end of Act 2, right? I know the horse for sure is going into Act 3, and I don't know about the friend, so I'm not sure how that dialogue is completely different.
Taka. was his name.
Taka, yes.
Yeah.
How could you forget his name? I didn't even know who you were talking about because you said inventor. I thought there was some other random guy.
He invented
You
the
mean
grappling
Yuna's
hook. That's the
brother?
only time he references him is the grappling hook.
Blacksmith?
The main catalyst.
The inventor.
Of the second act.
I don't remember him saying any that referencing it, but
Yeah, no, he
Yeah,
references his horse's death, and then the reason why I say his inventor friend is because he references him when somebody asks about his grappling hook, the new guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
says
the
that.
reference to the horse, he's like, I can't lose another horse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you say so. So, yep.
I know so.
You wake up on the beach under the sea. Oh wait, you're not under the sea. But it's cool as you enter those all the like dead whale bones and shit like coming up out of on the shore. Go through
That's a
some
great
caves.
visual.
You get to see your new mechanic, which I'm a little disappointed that they didn't put this grapple pull as a combat maneuver.
Mm.
Ah, that
I think that would have been a very good,
would have been cool. Quit making a better game. It's already good enough.
Where
especially
you-
since they added the guys that can switch between 3 weapons. You could easily have used it to force them into a certain stance,
That's a good
maybe.
idea.
take their shield from them.
Yeah, you know,
That's great.
do something like that. I thought that would have been pretty cool. But I mean,
feel
it's
I
it's
feel
still
like they
okay.
might have wanted to avoid comparisons to the Arkham games because that's essentially the backlaw now that we're talking about.
But I mean, they could make it so you needed to resolve, so it wasn't something you could do all the time.
That's fair
Like
enough,
you
yeah.
know,
unless
you're Ryan, because you always have resolve.
Did any of you play this on PS5?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The grapple pull on the DualSense adaptive triggers
Mhm.
is super intense.
It is. Especially when that L2, you're hitting that L2 to pull it. It's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, because you can also hear your like triggers literally make like a like
Mhm.
noise when you're doing it.
I don't even remember if the controller vibrates on PS4, honestly.
Anyway, it is quite the visual as you bust open these planks and walk out of this nice little cavern into the island of Iki, and you see monkeys running around. And apparently, that was a spoiler in the channel, and people were angry. Chris,
I knew nothing, Tom. You're telling me there's monkeys? God damn it.
fucking monkeys on the island.
There's
Oh, yeah.
also enemies. Spoilers.
Wait, we fight in this game?
What?
no, a
No.
bunch of monkeys. That's it.
He's not really a ghost.
I wish you were.
I thought we
fighting
went
a
over
bunch
the
of
Eagle
monkeys.
tribe with words.
And we fight a giant monkey and cut off his head, and then he picks it up and fights you with it.
Maybe in Legends, like the added stuff.
It's for the
we
new raid.
fight. you'll be fighting the evil fucking Riku's monkey that has the taste of human flesh. So we will continue with the story before just exploring the island. So a lost friend, we start. And Jin goes in search of the boat that he came here on to find the boatman dead. And you're also looking for your horse, who might be dead, but Tyler probably didn't know he was dead, just like you didn't know the horse died in the first game. But that's okay.
I knew that this horse was alive. Come on, they're not going to kill your horse going right into it.
I mean, you kill your horse again. They already killed your horse. This is the second replacement horse.
I've moved on, Tom.
Can't even honor his memory.
I don't even,
You don't even remember what you named him. You don't even know what you named him.
I don't. I know Kage. Kage is my new boy.
That's my new horse. Yeah, it's Kage.
Yeah.
I think my first horse was Nobu.
Yeah,
My first
same.
horse was
There we
Kage.
go. There we go. Yeah.
He's just saying things so it makes
No,
him
that's
seem like he
100%.
remembers.
And you know what? Fuck
No,
him.
I named
He
him
died.
Nobu because that was the name of the bad guy in Daredevil season 1.
My first one was Sora because of Kingdom Hearts.
Boo.
Ooh.
I mean,
Boo. All right. Anyway, as you are searching around, also if you you can bury your boatman,
mhm.
and there's a nice little doodly do with that.
There's a handful of times in this game where you can go back and have like one more interaction with something
Mhm.
that I think is really meaningful and touching, and it's not like detrimental to any story point in any way. Like it's not like forced upon you in any story point, but it's just another thing that you can do. I think it's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of little after
Yeah,
touches
love
that you
it.
can do too.
An epilogue basically for each story point, and I think that's really cool.
So you come across a peasant who says you saw your horse, because obviously you find tracks, you start following your tracks. You come upon a peasant. He's like, "Oh, he saved me!" And there was a fucking snake that was going to eat my brains, and the horse killed him and ran away. And then you keep following the tracks, and you find a Mongol with his fucking skull caved in. As your horse just beat the piss out of him. You come
As one
on,
does.
you keep going, and you find your horse, and he's surrounded by, or he knocks a bunch of Mongols down, leaving like 2 or 3, I think, for you to kill. After you kill them, you can call them, and then this is when you learn your brand new charge technique, which is quite fun, just blowing
Mhm.
through groups of the Eagle tribe. So obviously, you just get the mechanic. Here's a bunch of Mongols, and you just start charging through them all. So as you make your way up the path, knocking all these Mongols down, you hear somebody yelling in the distance. As you get to him and free him of the Mongols, it is the same guy who somehow made it up the hill faster than you, after almost being killed by a snake, and it gets captured by the Mongols, and your horse saves him again. So there's a nice little scene like the after, when it goes, "A lost friend completed," and it's like him like petting your horse and like, feeding him. It's a nice little. He loves your horse, and probably stole him and replaced it with something else. But he thanks him for saving him twice. And that is the end of A Lost Friend. So now we are on to the Eagle's Cry. Do eagles cry? I don't know.
Eagle.
Real quick on the horse charge, I'm
no.
like, okay, I'm like kind of jealous of people who get to play this as just part of the game, both because I think it's great for Jin's story before you quote unquote end Jin's story at the end of the game, and also because they get to just like take the abilities like the horse charge and the saddlebag that you get later, which is very useful
Oh, yeah.
with them
Yeah.
into the main game, which is awesome.
Yep.
But do you think a lot of people playing it were like, "I'm going to do this," since if they haven't played it before, they're going to like, "I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to go do this DLC, and now I'm going to come back to this."
Well, they
Do
might
you think
know-
people are competing
Might
to
not know the
get
difference.
Yeah, I think that people are just buying it. Like, it's not like they present it as DLC. They present it as this is very hard, so maybe people would cower away from it because of that. But otherwise, I mean,
Isn't
this
there
is
like
just
a
something you can
warning
run
before you
across.
do it, like that this
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
like
You have
before
to
you leave
finish
the
story
island?
before you can come back to the main island.
You don't have to finish the whole thing of Iki. You only have to get so far, and then you can you can fast travel. I think it's after.
Oh, I thought you had to finish the whole story.
No,
Nah.
you can. It's
Yeah,
like
it says that fast travel
after, like, the
Tsushima is open up
fourth-
again.
or something.
Oh,
Fourth
okay.
iteration,
Yeah.
I think maybe.
It's after you help the raider leader lady, and she likes you. She's like, you can
Yeah,
use our boats to
Fune.
leave.
Fune.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say the horse charge is the most satisfying when you see a bridge that enemies are on.
Yeah, and they're stuck. Like they can't get past you, and
They
just
got nowhere to go.
like bowling.
Stepped over the edge of that bridge.
Mhm.
Mhm. Especially once you get it up, because you basically just keep gaining resolve as you're mowing them down, so you can just keep going round and round and round. We'll get to that in one of the other.
I will say
here.
that the charge technique did make me actually do something I didn't really do in the main game, which was have combat on horseback. It was actually really fun to be able to walk around and like, you know, do drive-bys and take swipes at people and then turn around and go back and do it again. It was something that I never really did before in the game, but it was still pretty effective, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that this game has always done well is they give you so many ways to play and to fight and to tackle any obstacle in a way that you want to do it. And I think they excel even more in this by adding that technique to the fold. You know, it's like I started to do that as well, as charge into a group of enemies, then I would jump off, do a critical strike, and throw a smoke bomb, do a couple of stabby stabs, get my resolve up. You know, it's just great. And it feels so fucking good. That's the thing that's the craziest about it, right? Is like they have all these different techniques and ways that you can play, and it all feels so good and it's so seamless. It makes no sense.
Yeah, one thing I forgot about was the fucking blow darts, man. Once I remembered the hallucination blow darts, I was just making those, and then poison, and they're just vomiting.
Yeah, the blow darts are so OP, and they give you so many options to pick up poison as you're going through. There are so many of those purple plants. I was poisoning so many motherfuckers. It was crazy. But it works so well because it's also like you poison them, but then it's like a distraction, and they all group around the person that's like vomiting to death, and then you can go in and just do a chain assassination.
Well, that's like I even forgot about like the firecrackers and stuff at the end. I'm like, oh shit, I still have more stuff in my pouches and I've already beaten the fucking story of the game. And I was like, oh, I didn't even use like half the shit that I'm able to use. So it's great. Yeah. All right. So yeah, Crying Eagles.
Good game.
We're heading up to Fort Sakai, and we find a group of women fleeing from the fort. You defeat their pursuers, and they tell you stay the fuck away. And clearly, you listen, and that's the end of the game because you just go home. You're like, I don't need my dad's fort back. Fuck that. So yeah, you fight your way through the Fortnite. Why isn't Jin in Fortnite yet?
this thing on.
Said we get Will Smith.
Get a samurai sword as your pickaxe.
Yeah,
that's right. I have a samurai sword as my pickaxe now.
Yeah, so you fight your way on the outer areas of the fort. As you get to the gate, you pass through the gate, and it's like, oh, we're gonna do a nice little duel here. Slow motion. Let's look at each other. Ooh, stare down. Boom. Let's just throw a shit ton of flash bombs at you and get knocked out. You wake up in the stocks with the eagle pacing in front of you. You tell her you killed her scouts. You defeated Koshin Khan, and that tomorrow 1,000 samurai will storm the shores of Iki. She seems less than impressed and scoops up some weird crap from the cauldron, takes a little sippy sip, and then forces you to drink it. Which it probably tastes like raspberries or something, so it's probably pretty good.
You ask too. You can talk about that white eye of hers.
I mean, it's black and white. I don't know, man. Looks like she's got a fucked up eye.
I forgot you get the black and white mode. Everybody's eyes are white in your game.
Oh my god, her eyes are normal. What is wrong?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I want to know more about it, how she got that white eye. You know.
Okay.
Never found out.
We should have asked her. Why didn't she ask her?
Yeah, she wasn't talkative.
All right. She was actually fairly talkative.
She wanted to know about you, though. She was questioning.
Yeah, she was way more concerned about me. Yeah.
So you ask her what she made you drink. She replies, "It's sacred medicine," and she says, "Save your strength. This is the easy part." Jin replies, "You won't break me," and she says, "You were already broken ages ago." And she releases your spirit to travel the underworld and face the judgment of your ancestors. And then you pass out. And you see your father Cecine again as he's reaching for you. "Why aren't you helping me, you dirty little bitch?"
That's what he said.
And you awaken to Yuna's voice calling for you. You recover your gear. You head with her to escape until you come upon a pit where you see your father asking you why you didn't help him. But along the way, she's asking you all these questions. And obviously, we have Smithy wrote a question. Did you guys buy the whole Yuna's come to break me out thing at all? Mm-hmm. No, I did not. But he says, I'm pretty sure that between the convenience of it and the fact that everything still had a purple hue. No, it did not have a purple hue. It was normal black and white.
It had a purple
he caught on almost immediately. So,
yeah, I knew immediately we were in some kind of trip.
Yeah, it didn't make sense why she would have been there.
Yeah, as soon as she showed up and she was like, I broke you out, I was like, my first reaction was, again? Like, this isn't even the first time that like he's been caught and she's broken him out. And I was just like, that feels a little lazy. And then as soon as she started asking him questions and she was like, so are the samurai really coming? It's like, why would she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that he said that. And
Yeah.
then
Even
when
though
he
he was there, that's how I knew.
yeah.
It's like
And then-
he never
and then-
told anybody. He just got on the boat and left.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
she was there when he left. Like
Yeah.
she's literally on
but
Tsushima when he leaves the
left
island.
by himself. But like what she's
Right, but I'm sure he
randomly
said where he was going because he told her about the island and the eagle.
yeah. But as soon as she asked him that, I was like, she doesn't know that he said that. And then when he immediately was like, no, I lied about that, I was like, no, this is a swerve. He's gonna get got. And it was apparently literally just the eagle talking to him, and he thought it was Yuna the entire time.
Yeah.
And to get away, he yeets himself off a cliff. So
Yeah, so you're just giving all this information up as you approach this nice pit with a bunch of corpses and your father standing in the middle of it, asking him, why don't you help me? And then you turn to see that the eagle is now, or Yuna, and that you have been giving her information all along. She tells you the visions are just the beginning. She tells you that without her help, the fear and the pain will overwhelm you. She wants to guide you through the horror. It will purge the guilt from your spirit, and together you will tame the island and finish what your father started. Help her defeat the raiders of Iki Island, avenge your father, and then you pass out in a pit of corpses. Which is clearly how I would want to finish that scenario. You wake up as a little boy, and you're running around, I assume, what is the gorge. But at this time, I don't think we really know that. You're just in this canyon. And you keep hearing your father calling for you. The eagle is talking as well, saying that you failed him. You pass many corners where you see your father's shadow, talking about how much of a little bitch you are, and you're a poet, and you're not
That's not
a
what he
warrior.
says.
I mean, essentially, that is what he
He
says.
doesn't call you a bitch, I don't think.
I mean, basically calls you weak and feeble, and you're not a samurai.
Not super proud.
Yes, it's more than
Come on.
not proud. He says, yeah, you're right. He's not proud. He just says you're going to let your family down. You're a horrible samurai. He also speaks of how soft you are. So, yeah, see, he's very proud of you. As you run through the dark ravine farther, you continue hallucinating, eventually ending with another vision of your father being killed, which ends up being a man named Tenzo killing a Mongol and saving you, taking you to safety. As you and Tenzo speak, he refuses to let you talk down to him because he's not below you, because you think you're better because you're a samurai. He asks why a samurai would be on the island that hates him, and tells him why you are there and what happened with the eagle. He's surprised that you can even hold a conversation with him after drinking medicine, as he has never seen that before. Jin asks Tenzo when will it wear off. He responds that as far as he knows, it doesn't. And he tells you to meet him at a farmhouse on the western coast. Scene. Anybody got anything? What do you think of Tenzo? What's your first thought of Tenzo?
I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him right off the bat.
Remind me of Tanaka.
Yes.
He also reminds me a lot of just the protagonist of Rashomon, that old Kurosawa film.
Mhm.
I feel like he was very much a side character that we hadn't quite gotten yet, which is just a down and dirty, doesn't care about samurai, doesn't recognize any of that crap, which I think Jin probably needs a little bit, because his whole story arc was definitely, do I uphold the honor of the samurai or do I do things my way? And this guy clearly is here just going like, yeah, do whatever you want, like I'll do whatever I want, that kind of guy. So I think he was a good side character to have with Jin, because it forces Jin to be in a position where he has to earn somebody's trust in a very difficult way. Because on Tsushima, if he rolls up and saves somebody from Mongols, 90% of the time they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you're a brave samurai, oh my god. And this guy's like, what do you, I don't care, get out of here, I'll kill you too. So it was kind of nice to have that dynamic of somebody not pretty much falling over themselves because Jin is here to save the day.
Yeah, it knocks him down a peg or two.
Yeah.
Tries to ground him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Raiders return. Tenzo agrees to take you to his raider friends, and on the way, Tenzo calls the samurai invasion the Sakai invasion. At this point, speaking of when your father came to the island years ago, he scoffs at the mention of your father trying to bring law and order to the island. Here's your first choice in your conversations. You have a choice to respond to watch what you say or both sides were to blame. I responded with both sides were to blame for what had happened to the island, and Tenzo agrees and
Same.
says he has never seen a pretty war.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that most of the choices I made in the conversation are probably going to be what everybody chose, as I don't think anybody was the asshole.
Yeah, I wasn't about to be
Maybe
rude
you could
to
surprise me. So, yeah.
Wasn't
We'll
about to
see.
be rude to the dude who was showing me around.
The only ally we've met on this island where
Yeah.
everything's tried to kill us.
Yeah.
Even the monkeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
Mhm.
hopped right up and started to strangle me, Tom.
Dirty bastards rubbing their little bare ass butts in your face.
That's right.
So as you go along, you find a group of Mongols. So you just take them out pretty easy. After slaying them, you find the raiders have sealed off the entrance to the hideout, and you must find another way that leads you around the cliffs. Which this is pretty cool scenery as you're like scaling around, trying to gain entrance. Again, using your new mechanic of the grappling pole. The whole time as you're moving, the eagle begins talking to you, saying that Tenzo is leading you to murderous people who killed your father. Once you get to the gate, he says, from here on in, it's all on his head. And here's another choice. You can choose to tell him to watch his tone or that he can trust you. I responded that he can trust me.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Same here.
On the way to Fune, he tells you how he once saw her drown a man by tying him up and leaving him in the high tide, and another time that she tied him in to the mast of his ship and let the gulls eat away at him. And you find more people that are like batshit insane from the sacred medicine. Which clearly you begin to think that, well, I'm very well off as I can still walk, and these people are just like rolling on the ground, spouting gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
Making it to Fune, her and Tenzo and yourself devise a plan to take down the Mongol warship out on the coast that is causing havoc in the coming storm. They will hijack the resupply ship and take it down.
Yeah, like
what
on
do you
the
guys
way
think
up
of
there.
Fune?
Well, real quick, I want to say I like that you pass by Tenzo's house and find out that he basically gave up his house to these patients who are suffering from the medicine. I think it's good character building for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shows how much he really cares for these people around him.
Yeah, and that he you find that out by somebody saying that they needed more rags to help the sick, and he literally just says, "Go take some of my shirts and cut them up."
Yep.
Good dude.
He's a good
But
guy.
Fude, like, stiff leader, right? She realizes her people are in a tough place, and she's not gonna stand there and cry and be a coward about it. She, gonna put up the best fight she absolutely can, try to help her people. I like Fune.
Same here. Right when you get on the island, you think when you meet Tenzo, like, oh, it's gonna be tough to earn this guy's trust, and then you meet Fune, and you're like, oh god, Tenzo's been nice to me so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things I think this game does really well. Even the original before this expansion was like strong women characters within
For
this
sure.
island, which is really hard to do in a setting where, back in that time period, women weren't necessarily sought after for their roles in society. They weren't the ones who were leading. They were very subordinate, and to have these strong female characters and like leading these people and to be taking charge, I think is just a really nice thing. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just,
And each with their own unique motivations too.
yeah, exactly.
Which really complement, in my opinion, a lot of the things that Jin is struggling with too. Like, I feel like Yuna and Lady Masako, even though they're both clearly 100% on his side, are very two sides of things Jin is struggling with. Like, Yuna is clearly, leading him down that path that helps him become the ghost, and Lady Masako is purely out for revenge to live up for her family, which is another thing Jin struggles with.
Revenge versus any means necessary versus honor.
Yeah.
Versus like, and then even with Fune, it's like just duty. On top of that, It's something that you see Jin struggle with the entire time, and it's completely mirrored in these like 3 strong female characters. I think it's a really interesting choice.
Even the side ones too, like Tomoe is kind of Jin seeing like,
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is what I like. If I'm not too careful, this is what I could become. And then like we have a good, like not a version, but another person, Lady Sanjo in Umogi Cove, which is essentially that little like pirate hideaway on the main island. She's in charge there. And then you meet on this island in one of the side missions, Sugi, who is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole game, and she's in it for all of 30 minutes.
Yeah, she's a real badass.
Yeah.
She got a cool hat.
Yes.
So now we are at Jin from Yarakawa, which is the name of your armor, if you were wearing that. But
and the name you've been giving everybody since arriving on Iki.
Oh yeah, I'm Jin. I'm from Yarakawa. That's me.
And I love that they all repeat the whole thing as if they're
not just
clearly with that inflection of like, whenever somebody says like, whatever you say, Jin from Yarakawa, like they all have this inflection like, yeah, right, dude.
Yeah, you're not who you say you are.
Whatever you want to tell us, go right ahead.
So you start this in the camp and you find Tenzo interrogating a Mongol and basically he just kills him. And Tenzo and Jin talk a little bit. He's like, why did you kill him so soon? He's like, he already told me everything you needed to know. He's like, what did he tell you? You'll find out later. Blah, blah, blue. Diddly da. Let's go hijack a boat. So you wait for night and there's a bunch of fog. So you can go down and start heading towards the boat. And as you're going down, you have a conversation with Tenzo. And he asks if you're still seeing things. And you say, yes. Things you would like to forget. Tenzo asks, like what? Getting bloodstains on your favorite silk hakama? Just taking nice little jabs at Jin for being so proper. And like, really, what's the worst that could happen? And he's like, well, worse than that. And he asks you, I'll bite. What can possibly have been worse that you've seen? And you tell him about your father dying with you in battle, or basically getting killed in front of you. And he just apologizes, and that's kind of the end of that little conversation. And so then you get down, kill a bunch of dirty Mongols, get to the boats, and
they're dirty, Tom. Maybe they bathed recently.
They don't look like they're very clean, and there's only like 6 different models, so they're probably still all dirty. So you get to the boats and you begin heading to the supply ship, and the fog begins to lift. The ship sees you coming and just begins to like open fire. You offer to sneak around because you're the ghost and take them all from behind, which this is a nice little area. I like this, all the little different layers. You can get everybody because nobody's paying attention to you. They're like shooting cannons off and arrows, and it's just basically let's get behind and see how many we can assassinate.
Yeah, this was one of the areas where I felt like I really used everything in my arsenal. Like it was like that moment was like, okay, now I'm back in it, hot and heavy. Let's go into the grab bag and see how I want to tackle this thing. And then like using the environment as well, because there was a lot of explosive barrels that they had laying around, and like hanging crates that you could drop on top of people. So like luring people underneath crates and dropping crates on them was like a really fun puzzle. I love when I can approach their combat like a complex puzzle and just do it my own way. So it's great.
Yeah, I also adore this part of the game, having to sneak around and slaughter these Mongols to save our friends and keep the attack going. It was a blast. Great setup.
Yeah, it is interesting that none of the like raiders on the island ever question a samurai doing shit. I mean, you did it a lot. You became the ghost because of this stuff, but like this is not samurai shit. And they know you're a samurai, but they never like care.
Yeah, the only time it's brought up is when you're like getting into is it Kitafune village? Not wherever you meet Fune. And like as you're like hopping along the rock walls, Tenzo's like, well, I've never seen a samurai do that. You want to trade places? Nope, go right ahead. That's
yeah, it's in the grassy area, right, where everything's covered in grass.
While you're climbing along the rocks to get into the town when the first
you gotta like go around one side, and he's just like standing on the path.
Yeah,
I want to also point out too that this game, I think it was in one of the, I don't remember if it was in one of the director's cut, not the director's cut, the deluxe edition, like making of stuff, or if it was just in a separate interview. But they did have like a Japanese historian talking about the code of honor that samurai have, and he was watching a lot of the stuff in the game. And there was a point, I think they showed him the point where Lord Shimura initially like is disgusted with you for stabbing somebody from behind, and the guy immediately was like, yeah, that's very traumatized. He's like, yeah, you're a samurai and you got a code of honor, but if you're out there killing people, like, they didn't care. It's just like as long as you are the one who is still alive, nobody cared. I thought that was very, very interesting to hear, and that goes back to what I was saying, that they very much took a lot of the things from those old dramatized films of samurai with that strict code of honor. It's a one-on-one fight, face to face, and in reality, it was like, yeah, no, I'll kill him with a pot to the back of the head if I have to.
I will stab this man with a fork. I swear.
Yeah.
Beat him with a fish.
That's right.
Yeah, so we get the boat and destroy all of the evil Mongols, who may or may not be dirty, I guess. And then we set sail for the warship, discussing our plans of you saying you can, or Jin saying that he can get on board and, or was it like open up its belly with the black powder? Something like that. Some weird thing that he says. And basically that's what you do. You get on board and fight a bunch of Mongols, find the black powder stock, and make it go boom, boom. Yay.
Yeah, another
Big
fun fight
bada
sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fight sequence. I don't remember it being like differing a lot.
No,
than anything so far yet.
Another fun fight sequence where you
Every fight sequence is a fun fight sequence. I think is the point
Yeah.
Tyler's trying to
I
drive
feel
home
like,
here.
but before, like coming into it, like the part before this very much overshadowed this actual boat fight.
Yeah.
Because this actual boat fight just seemed very much like a lot of the ones that you do in the co-op legend stuff.
Yeah.
Where you're running to the boats and it's just, here's a bunch of guys, kill them.
It was I feel like the first big fight sequence in the story for Iki. That was so that was just kind of nice to finally have some of this stuff come to a head a little early on.
Isn't it nice that they allow you to redo like Mongol camps now? Like, oh, I want to fight more.
Yeah.
Go to the menu, refresh it. I get to fight more.
And duels too.
Yeah,
I think.
and duels. That's what I was about to say.
Being able to redo the duels is so awesome. Like getting to do that Ghost of Yarikawa duel again is one of my favorite things. But yeah, I will say about Iki, since the island is much smaller than the mainland, there is like if you're just riding around, there are so many more just random Mongol patrols compared to the main island. So even then, it definitely feels like in the main story, when I'm just exploring, I'll see like a few Mongol enemies pop up every now and then and be like, hey, haven't you guys heard? You lost. But in this island, I'm like, after beating the story, there were still so many of them. I was like, did I do anything here? Like there's still like 100 of these guys.
I felt like running around on Iki, I was finding more archer challenges than actual Mongol crowds. Like everywhere I turn, there's just a bunch of those freaking archers just shooting off into the distance. Like, what the hell?
Those
Like,
are
they only shoot
challenging.
at targets. Otherwise, they might help against the Mongols. That's the,
Yeah,
That was actually one of the things I really liked about coming up on the random Mongol patrols, was having raiders actually show up and help you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that seemed to
was a
happen
really
a
cool
lot
addition.
too.
Oh, I only had it happen like 3 times. So it's kind of like,
And that you can actually talk to them after, and they'll say some variation of like, we were following you, we thought you could use some help.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's another version where they're like, "Oh, you helped us out on our ambush. We were going to come for these guys anyways." It's like, that's right. Yes, you were. They were going to get it.
Yeah, being able to redo the raids, and also the fact that there's just a lot of patrols here, will be very helpful for anybody looking to get the platinum now, because I remember it was a big pain in the butt to finish off the last trophy I needed for the platinum, because I think there's a trophy for wearing the Sakai armor and getting a 5 chain, which is not that difficult, but you need to find a 5 chain, which is very hard when you've already cleared the entire original Tsushima island.
Yeah, absolutely. Those
you should have just did it right away then.
Nah, I was a
Those-
ghost, man. I fucked shit up from stealth. I played it like Assassin's Creed mostly.
That's right.
Also, speaking of playing it like Assassin's Creed, I love that you can grapple up on the slack lines now.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
a
that
really
shit
cool
ruled.
addition. So just more traversal options in general. So it was really fun to be able to like jump off of a very high cliff or something and then like literally latch onto like a slack line or something on your way down.
Yep.
Just another cool little addition, I feel like.
I think I actually found myself riding the horse more just because of the charge move. Like in the actual Tsushima Island, I was running around a lot more just on foot, not really using the horse at all. But with the added mechanic of that charge, I was definitely riding the horse a lot more.
Yep. That good old boost.
So as we are headed back towards the shore, we have a nice little conversation with Tenzo. And he confronts you about who you really are and calls you Lord Sakai. Because you guys he's kind of been on and off like this whole little boat trip you've been on. And you're kind of like, what's the stick up your ass? And he's like, we don't need to talk about this now. Let's get the job done. So now he confronts you, calls you Lord Sakai. And he's like, well, who told you that? Is that what the Mongol said before you killed him? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, if Fune finds out, she's gonna fucking cut your balls off and wear him as a chin.
What was that?
It'll be the sack chin.
A Balchinian.
Also, it is really funny that Jin's like pretty much like, how'd you know? When like if you play all of the side missions, there are at least 2 or 3 where like he just gets fed up with somebody saying one bad thing about the samurai, and he's like, I'm Jin Sakai, and they're like, what? And like he expects them to be like, what? And instead, even like these old men are just like, you better get out of here before I beat the crap out of you. Like, so like it's so funny that he's like, how do you know? And then like there's so many side missions where he just blatantly within 30 seconds is like, don't you know who I am?
But yeah, so Jin tells Tenzo, he's like, well, this is what the eagle wants. Like, she told him that she wanted that Mongol to tell you who he was, because that's what she wants, is for them to be divided, to fight against each other instead of fighting against her. Through all this, you end up finding out that Tenzo was once married, but his wife did not make it through childbirth, and that these are his people, and if they found out that he brought the son of the butcher of Iki to them, they would kill him no matter what. And you assure him that it will stay between the two of you.
Great fucking character building. Love this. Love this dialogue between these two. At this moment, I was like, I love this story that they're telling right here, and it as we go on, it just gets better in my opinion.
Yep.
This shit's great.
So we're now at the Lightning in the Storm, and you are headed to take back Fort Sakai while it is not guarded so heavily. You end up talking to Fune, and a bunch of her men are being held there and forced to drink the poison. Basically, you just head back to the fort, and as you're going through the fort, you're just unlocking cages. And her men are just fighting along with you against the evil eagle tribe. As you start getting closer to the main camp, you start to hallucinate more. And you make it to an area, and she's like, isn't this just like the night where your father strung up a bunch of hungry peasants on, like, staked them to the ground, and then just flashes his, I don't know, not a great, not funny, not a great scene. As there's just a bunch of people staked to the like posts off in the distance, as your father's kind of just being like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, which
funny.
One of those memories of the past you do, where you like get a vision of you being with your father during the Sakai invasion, as all the Iki Island residents refer to it. His dad, like you ask your dad, like, why did it have to be this way? These were unarmed, like, farmers, and your dad's response was like, sometimes what is right is not easy, or something like that.
He has a similar line that it's at the end. It's he said, because Jin's talking to him, this is like the very, very end, and he's like, they say that we have done terrible things, and his dad says, sometimes the things that are necessary are terrible.
That's the one.
That's like very end.
That's such a crap line.
It's just an easy out for doing crappy things when you're in charge.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Also,
I
like,
mean, it comes to show that his father is not a very good person.
yeah,
No,
for sure.
he's not. He's a bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just as you go through those memories, it just keeps getting worse too. And it honestly kind of speaks to what you were saying at the very beginning, Tyler, like these kind of gender roles from the past, in that he was a bad father because one of the reasons anyways that I feel like he was a bad father is because when Jin's mother died, Jin was very young, and his father just kind of was like, well crap, I gotta raise a kid now, wasn't she supposed to do that? Like that was
Mhm.
literally his reaction, and
Yeah,
it's
and
a
that's-
horrible one.
That's literally in this, pretty much in that same conversation where he says that is Jin calling him out, saying he did what was necessary on the battlefield, not what was at home. And your father responds that after his mother died, he didn't know how to raise a son. He only knew how to raise a samurai.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Great fucking line. That's amazing writing.
Yeah,
that's a
it's
good
really good.
line.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah,
also
that's
think
also Endgame.
Let Chris
story.
talk.
it's fine. No, everybody can talk. Everybody can talk. Okay.
Fuck it, I'm throwing a wrench in. Still here.
That's Tyler's job.
Keeping that wrench there.
Yeah, I also
I got
I
a bad hand. I can't throw anything. Sorry.
I think it's interesting that like throughout the entire main game, your uncle is like obviously, you know, all about the honor code and like thinks you're a piece of shit for not obeying the honor code, but like your dad was raising villages of innocent people on his command apparently. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know where he gets
there's a
off.
line of dialogue with that as well, where he talks about your uncle Shimura and how like they aren't the same at all, and
Yeah.
like he is so bound by honor, and he's like, I don't see things that way. Like,
Yeah, I
he
did
has
that
an
one.
excuse for that as well.
Mhm.
I did that like just before recording. I remember it was like let Lord Shimura deal with paperwork in the Jito.
Yeah,
Clan Sakai is the lightning in the storm,
yeah.
like we're the soldiers on the battlefield.
Yeah, which is also a cool line. So I guess like the best interpretation is just that the uncle is bearing the crimes of Clan Sakai to keep their
Jin's
reputation.
Jin's father is 100% that line of like cool motive, still murder. It's like every line he says, you're like, whoa, that's badass. You still suck though.
Great writing. I hate you so much.
Yeah. But you come out of the little hallucination you have of your father staking peasants to Poles that are hungry, and you get to duel with Kunbish. Right, that's that guy's
Oh
name.
yeah.
And I will tell you right now that on Lethal Plus, this duel is very hard. It took me a while to get the motions down, but once I got it, you could basically break each weapon he had. And it got a lot easier because he rotates weapons, right? He's got all three.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you time it right, you can break each weapon and he throws it off to the side and just goes to the next weapon right away. But if you can get him to get rid of that fucking shield right away, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
But it was also very fun. I really enjoyed this fight.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great fight. And then I love how at the end he
He
just,
runs
runs away. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm fucking out of here.
Get him! But yeah, so as he runs away, did you just book straight for him or did you start killing guys?
I lost him. I couldn't see him.
I
lost him in the
I
crowd.
chased his little ass down. I didn't even care about all the other guys because all of the men you freed from Fune's gang were taking care of them. I'm like, screw it, I'm chasing this little bastard down. He goes into that temple and you catch up to him like on the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see he tells you you're wasting your gift, and he's like, those visions and everything, they're only going to get worse. And then you fucking just kill him and throw him over the balcony in front of his
That's when
men.
He tells you like her plan is to make him one of her shamans, right?
Well, that was before the duel, but yeah.
Yeah, when he started running away, I immediately pulled out my bow because his run animation pretty much looked like every Mongol who runs away that you can one shot with your bow. And when I couldn't one shot him, that's what made me like pissed off and go after him.
Not even
Arrows in this
the
guy's
triple
back.
arrow knock where you get to load up the 3.
And then you realize that it's supposed to be like that, but
Yeah, it has to play out.
legitimately was like making me mad because I was like audibly chasing him, going like, "Get back here! What are you doing?"
I'm the one who hunts.
Yeah. So yeah, you kill them, toss them over, and then you just start burning all of the eagle stuff, all the tents and whatnot. And then we're on to the massacre of Kitafure Village.
Yeah. These back-to-back Lightning in the Storm and Massacre at Kitafune Village, or Kitafure or Fune? Is it Fune? Kitafune?
F-U-R-E.
I wrote Kitafure.
Kitafure, okay.
F-U-R-E, I believe.
Okay, yeah, these back-to-back missions are both just like these awesome giant war missions that like in the base game you would get basically at the end of each act, and the fact that they're just back-to-back here is amazing. It was great.
And you get like a bunch of good-ass dialogue in it too. It's like not even just that you're getting these epic fights and like these awesome moments, but it's like you get this like really good dialogue in between as well. It's great.
Oh god, so who's the leader of the Eagle tribe again? Is it just
the Eagle?
The Eagle.
It's the Eagle. Yeah. Remember they gave her an actual name. She says a number of times, make me whole again, or like in your dreams, in your like drug state, you hear make me whole again a number of times, right? Which my note here is I just beat Dead Space 2. That's a big no from me, thank you.
Yeah, she just wants your eyeball or whatever to put in her apparent white eye.
Yeah.
Make her whole again.
It was also kind of nice in this mission to see Jin, like the infallible Jin Sakai, literally like screw things up right from the beginning. When you're on this mission, because this feels like a much larger version of a survival wave in Legends, because fireworks go off and that's where the enemies are. But I really enjoyed how, like, for the most part, the visions were not super consequential so far, just because you'll see things and that's about it. But I like that it actually, you know, they were being sneaky and they were looking for the eagle, and Jin's like, oh my god, she's right over there, and everybody's like, no she's not, and Jin's already like running off like trying to kill her, and then they kill everybody. They're like, you gave away her position, and he's like, yeah, but I killed the eagle, and everybody's like, no you didn't. She's not even here. So I thought that was a really unique way to actually have.
I was just waiting for them though, to be like, she's living in your head rent free, bro.
The one I legitimately was afraid that he was accidentally killing one of the other groups of raiders.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, or like Fune or something.
Yeah. Ugh, that would have been awful. But it was cool to see the visions actually have real consequences during one of the missions.
Yeah. So yeah, the way this starts off, the eagle is hunting for you. Fune asks why she wants you alive. At this point, you can say, I don't know, or you can say, because I escaped when I first got here. I said it's because I escaped when I first got here.
Same here.
Yep.
She had captured me and made me drink the sweet, sweet yum yum juice.
It's just like DMT, right?
No, DMT only lasts for 10 or 15 minutes. This is a stronger drug.
This is like gummy bears, the gummy berry juice. So that's what she gave him.
Or meth.
Or meth. Gummy berry juice is very similar to meth, and that's why they were all bouncing around. Unless you don't know what the gummy bears are from Disney, in which case, go look it up. Fun little cartoon. I'm old.
No, I won't.
Gummy bear juice.
Gummy berry juice is what they would drink. I could sing the song for if you would like to, but
please don't.
I love how this game plays with the main menu. Like in the base game, once you beat the game, you get the mask hanging off the sword, and then here, like if you pause, end the game and come back, like it's got a drug effect. It's got that purple haze to the whole main menu. Yes, it does, Tom. Yes, it does. I know you're playing Kurosawa mode, and you're actually colorblind.
Haze,
but there's a purple haze on the main menu, like you're on a drug trip. I think it's great that they even tie the main menu into whatever it is you're doing in the game. It's almost like, I took a break from this game for 2 days. I come back, and as soon as you see the main menu, you start getting like hints and clues. I hit the keyboard and I muted myself.
Don't start doing this again.
I'm sorry. You just start to get hints and clues of like what's been happening, what's going on. It already starts to like perk your memory as to where you were, what's been going on in the story.
Yeah, because in the first game, that was just how they broke up the acts. Like each act would have a different picture of what was happening on the intro screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a purple haze. Jimi Hendrix is in the background, fucking playing guitar.
He is.
in my mind.
But yeah. Anyway, there is no Jimi Hendrix in this game.
What?
I don't know.
Not historically accurate.
Anyway, so yes, I said because she had captured me and I escaped. You can find out they are surrounding the raider outpost, so you decide to draw them away to Kitafure village. And while you were doing recon, the eagle starts to talk to you about how your father put this whole village to the sword, and now you will use it. If only they knew the horror you failed to prevent all those years ago. Tenzo confronts you about being here in the village during the samurai invasion while your father was killing everyone, and he said, I used to have a friend that lived here, but after the samurai left, I found his body, but it took me a bunch of weeks to find his head. Eventually I found it underneath all this mud.
I really like that line because his next line is, do you have any idea what it's like to find a friend like that? And Jin didn't say it, but Jin could very clearly go, yes, I absolutely do.
Yep.
It was a very big deal about 5 days ago to me.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm just going to keep that one.
But instead of
inside.
looking for it, I was tied up and had to look at it.
Yeah.
She's probably
Which I think
much
is
more
very-
horrendous.
Yeah. Thought that was very interesting.
I think it's smart of them to let Jin like give Tenzo this moment though, right? Like if he
Yeah.
would have sat there and been like, "Oh yeah, of course I did," like you know, let Tenzo explain himself.
I think that happens a lot in this expansion too.
Yeah, it felt like you as the player, like Jin was also like showing you the player to like bite your tongue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not only because, that's just one more thing to give away to other people who you might be, but just to, Jin learning to just shut up and understand that other people are suffering, not just him.
Right.
So he doesn't have his whole Batman complex.
But yeah, after this nice little moment that you have here, it goes back to what Alex was saying earlier with the flares and your hallucination. The horse charge is extremely useful in this entire fight. Was I was alluding to earlier, where you can literally just keep running around, fucking just knocking them over with your horse. Like I maybe got off my horse to get the shaman who were like up on a rock that you could get your horse up to if you wanted to, but it was hard because when it would jump and hit, and by the time you hit charge, you were already shooting off, so you couldn't really hit them that way.
I like that horse charge, but like I adore this sword combat so much that I'd like run through once and then get off to like get in the middle of the shit, because I just take this out of context. Feel free. I love being in the middle of a group of Mongol men. Like I just
Are they throat singing at this time?
some of them off in the distance. There's a couple. There's-
Gurgly action.
And then he pulls out his longbow. It's crazy.
It's extremely satisfying.
Take my
to,
poison
you
dart.
should have said blow dart is what you should have said
Yeah.
there, Tyler.
They're blue darts.
It is extremely satisfying to
They
fight
started
your way
playing a
out of every
skin flute.
All right. That wasn't
Bring the monkeys to me.
That's a different sanctuary, Tom.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Now the true colors have come out about our podcast.
No, it's in Kurosawa mode. What are you talking about? There is no color.
No, there's colors.
No,
It's like a sepia, black, and
black and white.
it's not really white.
This is a very white podcast.
You've called it
Yellowish.
white so many times, Tom.
It's like a yellow. More so than a white.
Like a
Low
urine
fluoridation.
yellow.
Yeah,
Surprised you can still see color, Tom.
I'm
Because he's old.
colorblind.
I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
You stop seeing
You
color.
stop seeing color.
All the color just fades from the world.
As soon as you hit 40.
That's how the 50s happened. Everybody got old.
So yeah, you can do, it's like 4 encounters, and I think the third one is a stealth one where you just sneak around freeing a bunch of guys. I didn't care much for that area, but it was fine.
I like
You don't
sneaking
have to
around.
stealth that.
No, you don't have to, but like that,
Yeah.
like obviously if you can just go in there and start killing them, but it kind of leads you to be like, okay, this is a stealth area now. Nobody knows where you are. You came to this area and they stopped responding, and you find the raiders like tied up and shit.
Yeah.
So you can just sneak around and do diddly do and kill people. And then the last one you see, they shoot off fireworks, but they're like basically chasing all of Fune's men back. And I like this part because like just they're chasing them, and then all of a sudden you just come out and start chasing them. So I'm just riding on the horseback, just hitting them with arrows and running them over.
Mm-hmm.
It was very fun. I enjoyed it very much. After you take out those guys, Fune wants to continue chasing them down and killing the motherfuckers. So, like, yeah, go kill them. I'm gonna talk to Tenzo here. And well, Tenzo kills like the last Mongol in your area, and as he is doing it, he says, "May your death benefit all beings." And this, of course, you have known because through the many flashbacks of your father, the same person that killed your father said the exact same thing. And I assume, since I am not playing it in any sort of color mode, you see red and pull out your Tonto and immediately put it on Tenzo's neck, which clearly you caught him by surprise.
I thought it was pretty good.
Ooh, it was not. Boo.
But yes, you... What? Yeah, fine. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I think this is a great moment. It's definitely one of those moments of, cinema like, wow, what a fucking coincidence. That sure is convenient
Yeah,
for the
no
story that they're telling, but I still think it works. I still think it's cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. It is a complete coincidence, and it's like, oh, okay, of course. But when that happened, I was like, that's super fucked up. This is gonna be interesting how this turns out, and it was great, and I liked it a lot.
Yep.
So yeah, you put your Tonto to his neck and catch him by surprise. He keeps telling you that you are hearing things because of the eagle's poison. And finally, Tenzo just gets so fed up. He says, just do it then. Kill me on the blood-soaked ground where your father murdered hundreds of people. You yell he was trying to save lives. You ask how someone so worthless could kill your father. And Tenzo's response, I don't know, luck. It's just like... Okay. All right.
Yeah, they said they were chasing him through the gorge. Yeah, like a broken leg.
The father took down dozens of our men before we could get him down. We finally broke his leg. You're releasing him, saying that you lured them into an ambush in the gorge, and you come to this amazing realization that that's how we're going to kill the eagle. We're going to lure her to the same gorge. And Tenzo tells Jin they can't hide who he is anymore. Not after that. Jin says, fine, tell Fune. He has proven his purpose many times over and what his intent truly is on the island. Tell her he is not his father, and that if he was, Tenzo would be dead. Scene.
I loved, like, one of the things that like popped in my head in this revelation was that I loved that obviously you find out Tenzo is the one who landed the final blow on your father and killed him. But I loved that the first time you meet Tenzo is you're having the hallucination of your father
of him
being
killing
killed,
your father. Yeah,
and it's Tenzo saving you by killing a Mongol.
Mhm.
So I love that the game subtly, like, obviously I hadn't told you that, but like through that vision, straight up told you, like, there's a dude who killed your father. I love that nice little, like, not a callback, but
it's a nod to
foreshadowing back then.
Foreshadowing, yeah. And then as soon as you think about it, you're like, oh, that's brilliant. Just one of the coolest things they've done in the story of this game.
Yeah, and I mean that whole exchange is so heated and like it has so much to it and so much weight behind it all. I mean, it was just great. I love the way that they have that entire dialogue. It works so well.
Yeah, it was a good exchange.
And it also really tells you a lot too about Tenzo as a person, that when he pretty much finds out who Jin is, Jin clearly was having like a, oh shit, like they know who I am and I'm in the worst place to be me. But Tenzo also, although we don't see it, was probably very much also having his own like, oh shit, like moment of like, I killed
Tenzo definitely handled the reveal better than you handled the reveal.
Yeah.
And he knew way prior than you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh shit, what's he gonna do when he finds out that I fucking killed his dude?
Exactly. Like, you know, he was warning Jin of like, if people find out, they're gonna be pissed. But you know, that was also probably, you know, coming from his own worry of like, if you find out, you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah. But yeah, now we are on the Blessing of Death. So for this, what is to be the final story battle, I once again, because I had the I don't remember what it's called, but the armor from the Riku.
The Sarugami armor.
Yeah. The one with the monkey on the head.
Yeah, the Sarugami
And the shoulders. Yeah, the monkey armor.
Yeah.
I said it. I
Sarugami.
once again donned the Sakai armor because you can now wear it in all its glory again. I actually think you get another color for it too, or different design.
Yeah.
It's just a different version of black and yellows,
It's just
grays.
covered in blood, and it says murderer across the chest.
And then
Good.
it said it had the Joker's ha 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 on there.
Yeah. Well, if you're, you can't say that wearing this is not good because I'm sure all of you put on your father's horse armor. And that horse was murdering the same people.
Don't they let you not put it on? I didn't see an option to take it off.
Yeah, I didn't see an option to take it off either.
What?
you can take it
the
off.
horse? Yeah, you can
go
just
into
put
your
a different
accessories.
saddle on.
Yeah, you just put a saddle.
It counted as a saddle. Okay.
Good to know. Didn't know.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
take
thi-
it
I
off.
think
It's so badass. Why would you ever
Yeah.
take it off? It's so
I wouldn't take it off. But
As
just
cool
saying.
as it is, I ended up having it for like maybe an hour before I was like, this is a bit much.
Yeah, just like the normal horse.
Bit
Better.
flashy.
I did not.
Well, you put the Sakai armor on and you're on the horse with your father's armor on, and it's a very
And then you get
badass
all
looking.
kinds of new colors for it, and it looks even more just
looks even more
extravagant and fucking
gray
ridiculous.
and
I
The Amaterasu color looks really cool on that
There's a
horse
what now?
armor. Yeah, that's one of its armors. Is literally it's called Amaterasu. It's really cool.
oh shit!
Oh, it sucks and it makes you not want to play video games anymore.
Tom and
Somebody
Tyler hate this
message.
game now.
Somebody message Crypto. He's got to make a new episode of Amy in it.
Yeah, but we already know the
I know
answer.
He can give it to somebody else. You know he's taking that game to every podcast he's on. Obviously, it's so good.
You can't. It's copyright.
Yep. Sue him. Who's
Yeah,
in
I
charge
didn't
of our
realize
legal
that there was
matters?
a Amaterasu one. There was one. It's like
Alex's.
What?
You're hired. We all get paid nothing, so congrats.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what one of the names. Chrysanthemum, I think, is one of them.
Mhm.
The armor colors, and that one is like.
No,
just
Chris Tail
super-
sucks. Don't bring that up.
I said chrysanthemums, not Chris Tails.
It said Chris. There's Chris in it.
Anyways, it's like
so anything with
orange
Chris in
and
it
yellow
sucks.
and like super gaudy, and like ridiculous. But I loved it. I've used that all over the place. It's great.
I might actually wind up taking that horse armor off now that I know you can take it off.
I mean, I'll admit, the more you find out about Jin's father in this game, the more like whenever I look at like his armor and the horse armor, I'm like, that's cool, but like, I don't know if Jin would be like rocking this.
It's you redeeming it. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's why your horse armor is no longer cursed.
But also, if I feel like I'm gonna approach something like a ghost, I'm not gonna be wearing some big, bulky, horned samurai armor when I'm doing it.
I don't like the helmet. The rest of it
Yeah.
I keep on. I definitely put a different.
Like clearly it
Headpiece.
has no bearing on your sneakiness, but I feel like it's like I'm on a slack line above people, they'd be hearing like all this clanking and armor moving around and stuff.
Yeah,
What's the new armor we got in this? What's the Mythic Quest?
Sarugami.
monkey.
Yeah, I wore that pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, it is
Evil
really
monkey
cool
armor.
Yeah.
I wore the headband that comes down like an eye patch a lot. There's a couple of them,
Yes.
but I wore those a lot.
I think that's my favorite new headband edition is the variants of the eye patch one. I love that. I
Also,
wore
what's with
that
the ones that are like higher up but like tilted?
Mhm. Like the big, they're like very bulky, like big, like the Second Sun headband was.
Yeah,
in the main.
but they're
story.
they're kind of like cocked to the side.
Mhm.
It's like
And they
what is
have, like,
going on with those?
very detailed art on them too.
Yeah, one has a tiger on it. And it's just like
yeah,
orange and green and it's ridiculous. And it's huge.
I like a lot of the new cosmetics they had. The one I found that I love the most is literally a cat mask.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that
Neku
one.
mask or Neku
Yeah.
mask.
I literally have that and the Nakoma's Fang sword kit
Yeah.
that has a little cat bell on it.
Yep.
Once I got the Stonecutter set, that's all I rocked. The one with the big
Yes.
ring on the end. That's all
Yeah.
I wore was that Stonecutter sword.
There's one
Yeah,
that
I
just
like
looks
this
like
color.
it's just like straight like bamboo wood.
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Oh,
the
that's
name
from the. Don't you get that from the arena?
of it. This one.
Yes.
It's
yeah,
just like the straight.
yeah. That's I got that, and I was like,
Where
oh,
everybody-
this is fucking
every-
sweet. And I was
everybody
like,
calls you
hold on.
Does it change the noise though? Is it just like hitting guys with like a wooden stick?
No, it's a regular sword. It just
Yeah.
that's just the way it's the hilt and
The,
stuff. is.
the little description says that it's like very much like a concealed thing.
Aw, come
like-
on! I want it to actually just be like a wooden stick that you're just beating people with.
Yeah, you
I thought that
impale
would've been
somebody with
better.
a fucking wooden sword because you have that much strength all of a sudden.
Well, you get to do that plenty in the arena. Which
Yeah.
did you guys complete all the arena fights?
Yeah.
Those are hard, man.
That
That
one
last
was
one's
a
tough.
bunch of bullshit.
Like
Yeah,
I
that
was
last one's
plowing
tough.
through them, and then that last one just
I was
kicked
like,
my ass.
what was? I wrote it down.
Did
I
you
think it's
figure
the
out the
second one
weakness?
and then the last one.
Well, the first 3 you can do in any order.
Yeah, but the
Oh.
second to last one and the last one were the ones where I got like legit stuck at. Like I had to take like 5 or 6 goes at them because maybe it's because I wasn't playing on higher difficulty, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, they introduced like some new moves.
Yeah, they
like
used
the one
to-
guy. He like does like a crazy spin attack where he throws dirt at you, and then he throws the
Yeah.
other shit at
That's
you.
that last guy.
And there's
Well-
nothing you can really do that I found to like counter it aside from just dodge roll away like 40
Yeah.
feet away
Yeah, you have
from
to
it.
dodge, and then you can either dodge again and slash or counter and slash, basically.
But this is where the monkey armor comes in very handy because you do that dodge and then you do that spinning attack where you hit him because you spin around. Because if you do a perfect one, you get the that chain that you can do.
It's just figuring out each one's weakness. But so that last one's very weak to like extreme offense. So just dodge once and go to strike him. Like he doesn't he can't get ready to block that right away. But
Yeah.
it's not weaknesses like any other time in the game where it's just switch stance. You only have the one stance in this dueling ring. So you've got to no, I guess they do let you switch stances.
Yeah, you
but
can switch stances because I switch
switching
stances.
stances is not always what the weakness is,
Yeah.
as opposed to
I remember
everywhere else in the game.
the one that you can attack, you can block the first 3 times, but then after the 3 times you get them 3 times, they don't do anything and they just back into a corner.
Mhm.
And as soon as you swing, it's like they just dodge and fuck you up.
Yes.
That
That was
that's
the
the
first one
second
I
to
did.
last.
Yeah.
That's the second to last one.
That was the female, I think, wasn't it?
female,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did that one
she,
second.
she fucked my life up, but
Yeah,
also
legit.
all
Like,
lethal plus. So
like
one
legit.
hit, you're
The
fucked.
the other ones felt like they were so breezy, right? Where I was like, for a dueling arena tournament, I feel like this is gonna be a short.
yeah, that
quest
monk was
for me.
super easy. Like that guy was nothing.
But then she shows up, and like you're saying, she does that bit where like you stagger her and get her stagger bar down to where if you hit her while she's blocking one more time, her stagger breaks and you can hit her. But she won't attack you. She'll just stand there waiting for you, and you will always miss, and then she will ruin your life.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really have problems with her, but I had problems with the monk that you guys said is really easy until I switched to moon stance, and then he was really easy in moon stance
Yeah,
for
and then
some
you just
reason.
kick the shit out of him, right?
Yep.
Yep.
No, I didn't even switch stances. I don't
Is
even
Moon
remember what I did.
the shield one?
It's the spear.
That's the one that's
Okay.
against the
No, Moon's
Moon's
the big
against the
boy.
big guys. Yeah, the brutes. That's the
Oh,
one
I was using. Yeah, you're right.
Wind is
Yeah, because
against
that's
spear.
the one where you do the spin kick.
Yeah.
I was using the shield stance where you can hold down the heavy attack, and he'll do that like
Oh, yeah, it
5 in
goes,
a row,
like,
like
up
quick
and-
swipes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this.
that helped on the early ones because you could essentially just ruin their stagger bar, and then they'll just be standing around like a moron, and you can just go boop, and then get up. That pretty much works for like the first 4 rounds.
This is just LARPing, by the way, right? That's all this is.
But I love arena stuff in games, so I really enjoyed
yeah.
this.
But
It's like
once you
how
get
I
through
was.
the last fight. It's awesome because you unlock the red dye guy, and then he has this badass mask that you can get from him.
Yes.
That's like the wolf mask from the regular island, but it's completely like has like a red maw on it now, and
Mhm.
it looks so fucking good.
Oh yeah, when it looks black and gray, yeah, that was fucking sweet.
And
Man, you got to
he-
play this fucking game in color because man,
And
You
and
need
that
to play
dye
it in
merchant-
Kurosawa mode.
I'm good. I got black and white filters.
Then I don't need to play fucking color.
I like that the dye merchant also only refers to you as like the champion or Bakuto.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool too. He has no idea who you are except outside of the fact, like, yo, this dude won the tournament. This is crazy. He shops here.
Get a picture on the wall of the celebrity.
I was gonna say.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of arenas and games. That's why I was so
Mhm.
pissed when they went from Oblivion having the Gladiator arena to Skyrim having no arena whatsoever.
Mm.
Dirty bastards.
I mean,
And then
how
what,
are you
the
going to sneak and
pit
use a
and
bow in
Fallout.
the arena?
what was the arena was just the what guild was that?
It was just the gladiator arena, so it wasn't really a guild.
Wasn't it a part of like the Fighters Guild?
Nope. Fighters Guild was separate because then you got the bear skull for completing the.
I don't remember. It's
Fighters
been a while
Arena.
since I played Oblivion.
Yeah, the gladiator arena was its own separate thing, and then you got the fanatic that would just fucking run around and follow you. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And people just made videos of them killing him in several different kinds of manners.
Turns out Oblivion's a good game.
It is. But yeah, so Blessing of Death. You're the bait to lure the eagle into the gorge. So you go to Tenzo's scouts, and as you are approaching, you see the eagle in the distance, and you approach, and all goes black, and her men disappear, and you're fighting just her. And as you are fighting her, she just disappears.
Yep. I knew it wasn't her. I was like, oh, this is because they already did it once where like you fought the eagle, but it wasn't the eagle. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be not the eagle again. Just
like Alex said from that previous in the village. And then you see signal flares go up, and you're like, oh shit, they're already at Fune. Let's go off to the gorge. And now you fight to Fune, and as you fight and you're going down like this gorge, you keep going in and out of these sequences of where it's just the eagle. But as you go into these like sequences, your resolve just drains, and it seems like you're like more sluggish, and not quite yourself. But
I had a charm on that would like restore up to 2 resolve while in combat. So my resolve would drain all the way and then slowly like dip up and then back, dip up and then back, dip up and then back repeatedly. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I think every time mine resolve ended up getting to the end, it usually was she was done and you were killing the rest of the guys and run into the next part of the gorge. But I thought it was a pretty neat little sequence of you just popping in and out of those weird hallucinations, fighting her. So you keep continuing up the coast, and you end up making it to where your father died by the tree. Oh, and the eagle asks you why the sacred medicine has led you here. And Jin responds to end her reign. She says, no, to heal you. For years you have hid from the pain.
Which these lines to me, I was thinking like, is this a Christian TV evangelist? What's happening right now? Am I getting punked?
Yes. All she wanted was to love you, but you could not accept her love. But yes, so you start fighting the eagle, and she is interesting to fight. After you get her halfway, it flashes back to your father. This time, though, you save him from being slain. Says you should have both died that night together. You have tarnished the Sakai name. Jin says the people of Iki accuse them of terrible things. Your father says sometimes what is necessary is also terrible. And the actions he took were not easy, but needed to be done. Jin says he did what was necessary on the battlefield, but not in the home. We already went through all this. He needed a father. He says that Jin's mother died. He didn't know how to raise a son, only a samurai. He asks you to do what is necessary to root their clan of shame and defeat. Avenge him. Kill the coward, as he's telling you basically to kill Tenzo, who was fighting. I think it was just a normal other Mongol, right? It wasn't anything big. But yeah, he wants you to kill Tenzo. And obviously you don't want to do that. So you yell back at him. Say, no, I will never be like you. And it's like that whole Darth Vader cutting off Luke's hand. No, it's impossible. Blah, blah, blah. I have the high road.
The high ground. Let's take that back. Come on.
So, yep. Father just yells at you to kill him. And you say no. And you come out of the trance and clash with the eagle. She says, the medicine no longer affects you. How can it be? And then I kill her.
She's like about to kill Tenzo when you stop her from killing and then finish her off.
Good moment.
Great moment.
Awesome.
And then you kill her, and as you strike, you say, "May your death benefit all beings." I love
Good
Tenzo much
fucking
more than
moment.
my father.
I think it's Jin realizing you don't have to live in your father's footsteps. You know, you can make your own path as a man. You don't have to live in your family's footsteps.
Yeah, but
You know,
he could have said something else, but by choosing to say exactly what Tenzo said,
I
it
think
seems like
also-
he's just switching father. Like, "I could you have been my father?"
I don't think that's the case.
No,
I think
he
it's
accepted that as like that statement for a truth is like,
Mhm.
I hope your death benefits all. Like, yes, I hope that from your death that many are benefited from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think frankly it took him too long. Sorry, Ryan, but I think he realizes that his father is a fucking monster. Like, he doesn't need to live up to that. Which it's weird if you go from this, like, if you go here at the beginning of Act 2, like we were talking about earlier, like, wonder how that affects your perception when you're doing the mission to get your father's armor, because that's like, I'm not honorable enough for this armor kind of mission, and now it's like, my father's a piece of shit and I don't want this armor, but I guess I'll take it.
I don't think it was him coming to the realization that his father was a piece of shit so much as he was getting rid of the guilt of he thought he was responsible for his death by doing nothing.
Yeah,
I think
it
he
was
already
really-
his father
it
was
his-
a brutish bastard.
Yeah, I think him feeling responsible for his father's death was what was the big thing for him to get over here. And then over the course of it, he kind of realizes, yeah, his father made his own bed, you know, like
Yeah.
it wasn't him not saving his father. It was his father suffering the consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
Like, because even as you're doing like the flashbacks when he's a kid, it's like you already seem to know that what your father is doing is bad. So it's I don't think it's cut that realization that my father is a super asshole. Like, I think you already knew your father was a super asshole.
Also, he was 12. What was he gonna do?
Well, yeah, you're not gonna do that. Literally, your dad would have just staked you up right next to him.
Yeah, and it's
You
also
soft little poet.
and maybe I'm reading too much into this part, but it also is interesting that his father spends his entire time being a single father to Jin, pretty much, you know, berating him for not being a man, you know, not being a samurai, and, you know, clearly not having the wherewithal to understand, like, this is a child. Like like when Lord Shimura had to then raise Jin, he clearly treated him as a child while still trying to instill values that he would then use later as an adult. Shimura was clearly aware of how to raise a kid, whereas his father was like, "Why aren't you tough? Why aren't you a big bad samurai yet?" And I think it's an interesting parallel and shows that he maybe also can't practice what he preached when in his final moments he's literally begging Jin to save him, and it's just a very interesting. And maybe, you know, obviously that's the only person who he could call to at the time anyways, but clearly wanting Jin to be a tough guy and have honor and, you know, be a strong samurai. And then in his moment of death, he's willing to let his own kid die to save him, which I thought was just kind of interesting and gives this whole story gives a lot more context to that moment as well, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I just view that him repeating the "May your death benefit all beings" as like an outward way to show Tenzo that he's kind of come to terms with his father's death in a better way. You know, like, because Tenzo's there watching the whole thing. He doesn't have to say that out loud. He does that as a show for Tenzo and for us, the player, as like a way to show that he has moved forward from this thing that has hung up his mind for so many years of his life.
I thought it was gimmicky.
Well, Tom, you just have to not like good things, huh?
It makes a lot more sense in color.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful shot in color.
So I really liked the fight with the eagle as well, even though it really wasn't anything new duel wise, but it was just a very difficult one. So I enjoyed the fight, but I had to kind of come to my own realization on this, but it didn't feel like as big of a payoff as I wanted it to be when you killed the eagle. Because honestly, she's pretty absent for most of the story on Iki Island. She's not really around. You don't have a lot of encounters with her in between the beginning and end like you do with the Khan during the main story. And I think at the time I didn't realize this, but it's probably very good that they didn't do that, because then this would just be a very smaller version of what was the main story. You know, it's just like, oh great, it's another commander on an island and I have to kill them. When really, like, even though it kind of bummed me out to be like, oh, the primary antagonist is relatively absent for most of this. But then during this mission, that's when I really, it really sets in. It's like the eagle was kind of secondary to the whole point of this story, because clearly the antagonist or antagonistic force in the story was Jin coming to terms with, his guilt and his legacy, and that the real fight, clearly, even though it was caused by the eagle, the real fight was mental, and him being forced by the eagle to have to confront all this. Yeah. So even though, it's kind of weird to have what is presented as the main bad guy for this whole island be mostly absent, it becomes like, it really drives home in this last moment that the point of this whole side story is very much Jin and his emotional journey coming to terms with his father and his guilt, and not so much the eagle. The eagle was honestly just kind of a plot device to give him a reason to confront all this.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the story. We got the epilogue, last words. We have the reflect on your father's death, but we'll do that in the haiku corner.
I love the epilogue in this game.
Yeah,
I love it.
So you end up going back to whatever that place is that Fune and Tenzo were at, the little raiders, Cove area. And as you're talking to Tenzo, he says he wants to help others affected by the sacred medicine, asks you how you overcame it. And you can say you overcame your guilt or that you forgave yourself. I told him that I forgave myself. He thanks you and bows. Cool thing is here is you can bow back to him, and he is very surprised if you do this. Did anybody else bow to him?
I did not do that.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, you can bow to him, and he'll be like,
I'm so rude.
God damn it. I gotta replay this whole DLC now.
See, you dirty ghosts that have no honor.
Hey, I'm the most ghost motherfucker ever, and I bowed to that man.
Oh, and then you talk to Fune, and she's pretty much just like, you can see she's planning another raid, and she's got something in the mix, and she has a side quest at the end here too. But that's it for main story.
Yeah. Great main story. I think it was exactly as long as the DLC needed to be. And it was a great roundup to the base game story, like because an enemy invader is going to continue to try and invade. This is a great way to show that continuation force, but like not have that, like Alex was just saying, not have the actual Mongols be like the real antagonist to this whole story. It's a great way to kind of tackle two topics at once.
Yeah, it's like a story within the larger story. It was great. The way that they placed it in here, I think, is perfect. It fits into the overall story of Ghost of Tsushima in a perfect way. They couldn't have done it any better. I think they knocked it out of the park. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And then what did we have? I think Rob had something about that. Gotta find the questions here.
Or was it Dory?
There's two questions.
I know there's a bunch of questions that just suddenly popped up today, so I already had all my notes written down.
Was it worth the price tag?
Yeah, was it worth the price tag is what Rob said. Does this make you want to go back and play more Legends mode?
Yes and yes.
Yeah,
I definitely think it was worth the money. I mean,
I bought a whole new copy. Like, I just straight up spent $70 on the director's cut for the PS5, and it was still worth it.
I think that comes to Dory's question a little bit too.
Do you like the way Sucker Punch handled the DLC and its cost?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it costs just a perfect amount.
Yeah, I think the cost is fine, but I still don't like the way that they handled it with calling it director's cut, and like once it released and it was in the store, it was not complicated, but the way that they explained it and like leading up to release, trying to like pre-order the upgrade with the Iki Island expansion, it was messy the way that they did it. They could have just sold it as a $30
You shouldn't have even just been able to pre-order the DLC. They should have just waited till it came out and then just did it, because when the day it came out, it was much easier just to be like, I just have to do this.
Super fucking messy. But the price range itself, I think, was spot on. Just a $20 upgrade for PS4 to PS5, and then $10 for
other way around.
Backwards.
Yeah, 20 for the director's cut, 10 for the upgrade.
I mean, that's fine.
Which
seems
is
weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think the value is great. I think, like you guys are saying, the way they explained it and did it was unnecessarily confusing. And I know a lot of folks were pretty much saying that they didn't like that the upgrade to PS5 wasn't free, which I kind of have
$10.
I have mixed feelings about it too, because a lot of the games that I do own do give you free upgrades and some don't. And I mean, if I bought a PS4 copy, I don't feel super entitled to a PS5 copy as well. I guess that just feels like a kind of nice bonus. If I wanted it on PS5, I'd buy it on PS5, you know? But I feel like, if you look at it as just like, the whole expansion upgrade, if I have a PS4 copy and want it on my PS5, it's $30. That's just kind of how I look at it, which in my opinion is not that bad of a price, because Miles Morales was $50 and I feel like we got about the same kind of amount of content. Maybe a smaller map than Miles Morales compared to this one, but looking at comparing the two, I don't think is really unfair in the kind of what we get out of the Iki Island expansion. And that's kind of another word there, is expansion. Back in my day, you would just pay $30 for an expansion and it would be on a whole separate disc, because that's what they used to be called. But I mean, I think the value for it is totally fine. I think that the way they explained it and did it was all kinds of messed up. Not morally, just it didn't make any sense. And that's honestly also what led me to just being like, screw it, I'm just going to buy another physical copy. I don't feel like going, trying to figure out what I need to get. Also, I love the game, so I was probably going to do that anyways. But
I'd have been perfectly fine buying a whole extra copy, but that whole extra $10 for the PS4 to PS5 upgrade thing does feel weird to me, even though I still played this on a PS4. I don't have a PS5 to play it on yet, so I didn't have to worry about that facet of the upgrade. Like, it just stood out as like a weird piece of that whole puzzle to me.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, they could also go the complete opposite route and not offer an upgrade path at all, like they're doing for Horizon Forbidden West, which is much, much worse than charging $10 for an upgrade.
I suppose that's fair.
And charging $260 for a collector's edition that doesn't include a physical copy of the game.
I did not realize that. Did not include the game. I didn't pre-order it.
It comes with a steelbook and a digital copy. Tell me how that makes sense.
Gross. That's gross.
That's funny.
You can put your hopes and dreams in the case. Close it.
This is where I'd put my disc if I had one.
I think it's like interesting because who else did the paid upgrade? Was it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2? You had to pay $20 to upgrade from PS4 to PS5, or was
Possibly.
it $10? It was something like that. And honestly, even though like I feel like nobody would care that much if other games hadn't done it for free.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, you're literally going like, wow, I bought the PS4 copy, and you mean to tell me that this game I bought a year and a half ago, I only have to pay $10 more to get the PS5 version? Like, when you say it that way, it doesn't sound that crazy, because normally you just have to buy a whole other copy of the game for it to work on another console. So it's I guess I'm more on the side of like, it's not really something that I need.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just, the reason why it sticks out so much, like you said, because other games are doing it for free, and Xbox themselves, Microsoft themselves, are making like a big initiative. Like, they have a name for it, I don't remember what it is, for like everything is playable on Xbox One or Series X without paying anything extra.
Yeah.
So I think by comparison, Sony loses out there. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, the way Sony handles most of their backwards compatible stuff is super complicated as it is. But it didn't bother me a lot. But I also, like, you're totally right, I can see how a lot of other people like, well, on my Xbox, it doesn't matter what I buy it for.
And then you tell them, good, you try and play Ghost of Tsushima on your Xbox. See how that works out for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, in terms of like the value of the DLC, I think it's pretty good. Even for me, I didn't do everything. I know you guys did a lot more than I did, but I still played like 9 hours, and the DLC itself is only $20. That's not a bad deal at all. Like, the only reason why I didn't do everything is because, like I said earlier, I was kind of playing in the same style. I wasn't really feeling like I was getting anything, and you get a few extra skill points you can get here, but you max them out pretty fast. So Like I wasn't like I'm very gameplay oriented, and I was not getting new gameplay goodies anymore at a certain point. So like I went and did all the springs, of course, because you got to see Jin's ass as many times as you possibly can. That's very important. Yes. And then I went and got the new like shrine, the new trinket there to see if I wanted to use it. Like I said, it sounded cool, but I didn't use it. And there was one, I did a few of the sanctuaries I really liked. Maybe you guys can tell me if there's any more stuff like this, but one of the cat sanctuaries, you like just get ambushed while you're about to sit down and play the flute, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
While we're on the topic of cost, I think subconsciously built into that is the fact that all of the multiplayer stuff has been free.
Yeah.
And there's still more coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, more coming out.
And throughout the entire month of September.
And they're going to be releasing Legends separately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For $20.
Which is a crazy good deal. Do you know is the rival stuff still free even if you didn't buy Director's Cut or whatever? I assume it would be. They wouldn't want to split the fan base. I
would assume that it's the same, yeah.
And also that's why I didn't feel super bad about paying for the console upgrade, or I bought a whole other copy, but that's also why I didn't feel bad, is because if I remember correctly, for most of the guys I'm talking to here, when Legends came out and we were all super high on it, we all blatantly said, I would have paid full price for this. I would have bought this as a totally separate game, but it's free. Yeah. And now that they're like, here's 10 hours worth of story content, and some people are like, but I have to pay for it. Like, it's like, I mean, and you're right. It took me about 10 hours to do the story, as well as I also cleared the map. I did all the side missions, all the shrines, all the artifacts, everything. It took me about 10 hours, and that's kind of also where my comparison to Miles Morales came in. Is it took me about 8 or 9 hours to beat Miles Morales, and I paid $50 for that game. And it also, story mode, the story in this expansion also was pretty comparable to Miles Morales for me, because when I did New Game Plus on Miles Morales, just like you would with any New Game Pluses, you just kind of like plowed through it. And you're like, I don't need to do all this other side mission crap. I'm just going to do a story. It took me about 3 or 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours to do the whole thing. So I feel like the comparison between the two is fair. And in my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima is kind of the better deal. They're both amazing games, but one of them's $30 and the other one's 50 or 60, even though it's a standalone game. But for the value there, I feel like they're both pretty comparable.
Yeah. The way I always do price values is kind of fucked. It's like I always go by the amount of time that I put into it. Mm-hmm. So like for this, like total amount of money is like what, $100, I think, for like brand new game, and then $30 for an upgrade and expansion. So it's about $100 roughly, right? And I put 130 some hours into it. I think that's more than enough of my time versus the amount of money that I've spent, where I think that, okay, this is easily comparable. And, I mean, if you're going to put that much time into something, why wouldn't you want to spend that kind of money on it either?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I think I've put close to 200 hours on this game, and it's been worth absolutely every single penny.
Mm-hmm. That Legends mode, that's where it gets you.
It's really good.
Yeah, like with this, I'm probably at 150 now, because I think I put another 12 or 13 into this. So
yeah, I was at 150 last year.
Yeah. I love this game so much that if I can buy Legends separately, I might still buy Legends separately, just to have its own like little boot up icon on my PlayStation.
Well, and you can save some hard drive space too.
Yeah. Oh no, I'll have them both, and the PS4 version still on there as well. Just in case.
It's just going to be your PS5 is just going to be a Ghost of Tsushima machine.
It already is. The only bummer is that we don't get themes on the PS5, so I can't carry over my sweet Ghost of Tsushima theme.
100%.
Heard that.
How do they not have themes? How does this is completely off topic. How does the Switch still not have fucking themes like 4 years in? It's ridiculous.
I'm super
the Switch eShop is the worst.
It's trash.
It's absolute trash.
I just realized today on a Reddit thread where somebody brought up that the Switch eShop on your console, it isn't even an actual app. It's literally just a web browser. It just takes you to a website.
That makes sense why it lags so fucking hard.
Yeah. It hasn't changed in 4 fucking years.
I can buy themes on my 3DS.
Still, buy one right now on my 3DS.
You convinced them. Buy Ghost of Tsushima on your 3DS today, everybody. It'll run great.
There's a good game on 3DS though called Sakura Samurai. If you're in a samurai thing right now, it's a really good game. Yeah, I miss having themes on the PS5 because I had a really cool Mirror's Edge Catalyst theme, played some really cool music. I had two Ghost of Tsushima themes where you could hear the leaves rustling as they would go through.
Alex, would you like to see what my 3DS theme is?
I would
just for
love to.
The visual people, the video version, if you will. Hold on.
For the audio listeners, it's Okamiden.
It's not. I would rather throw my 3DS in the trash.
It's actually E Honda taking off his.
Oh, can you?
Your camera froze the second you tried to put that up there.
Nintendo, no, it's just bright lights.
Is that the Sonic Generations one, the 20th anniversary or the 25th anniversary?
Hold on, let me turn on it.
I have them. I have it.
There
It's
we
gorgeous.
go.
That's right.
I don't feel like breaking out my 3DS. I have the Dreamcast theme
This is
on
just
my
a 3DS
3DS.
podcast now.
What is how you Nintendo allowed that to happen, Alex?
Yeah, I didn't think it could put up. But when you open up the 3DS, when you have the Dreamcast theme selected, it makes that rant, 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 like that grinding noise that the Dreamcast always made. It is the best thing. It's the only reason I even still have a 3DS is so I can just open it every now and then and go, and then just close it back.
So, any side quests you guys want to talk about?
I have a lot. I loved two specific missions. One of them, which we already kind of talked about, is bloodletting, which is where you help the coolest side character in this island, in my opinion, Sugi, the raider, who is essentially a female raider with a lot of tattoos and a big sword and
And a cool hat.
a very cool hat. And her whole bit is that she essentially needs your help taking down Yamaneko, who's another raider pirate, but he and his crew sided with the Mongols. And then you find out that the village that you meet Sugi in, she actually just moved into. Not a lot of people really know her. And it's, you then end up helping her defeat Yamaneko and his pirates, and she tells you that she was actually used to be a member of that crew because Yamaneko is her brother.
Twist.
Dun, dun, dun. And when he was like, we should work with the Mongols, she was like, fuck that, and like dipped. And he's been trying to kill her. That's why she's moving around and why she was new to the village. And in a really cool moment, very similar, but not as fleshed out, obviously, to the Tomoe missions on the main island. She dies when Yamaneko's ship explodes, and then you go back to the village, and there's after you find her hat, her awesome hat on the beach,
Which you can't wear right away. Which is
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like, oh no, she's dead. I better take this to her husband. And then you get there, and there's a note stuck into a tree that pretty much is her saying, like, yo, it's probably a lot better if I fake my death, so I'm out of here. And then Jin's like, oh, that's Sugi, and then puts on her hat and leaves. And I was like, man, she rules. I love that character. I do think the one thing I don't like about her overall mission is that normally if you're going to fake your death, maybe don't post it as a note on a tree for a whole village to see.
Yeah,
Wasn't there a body on the tree too?
Say what?
Wasn't there a body on the tree that it was stabbed into?
Yep.
Yeah, but she pretty much says, like, I think it's better for everybody if I leave or something like that. And I'm
Yeah, and
like,
like the entire town of like 8 people are just sitting there looking at it.
yeah, and I'm
she
like,
faked her own death.
yeah, and I'm like,
I
Jin's
told
the,
everybody about it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah. If you
Jin,
don't go back, yeah.
and I'm like, Jin was the only person on the beach, so you probably just could have walked up and told him and then left.
Yeah, yo, I'm gonna dip out. Don't tell anybody,
Yeah.
but I'm dead.
There's another side mission where you meet a woman in a cat mask, Kodama, who you encounter a burned down house, and this mysterious gray-haired woman in a cat mask pretty much shows up, and you're like, what the hell happened here? And she just points and tells you to go into the forest, and you go into the forest and kill a bunch of Mongols, and it's that same forest with the hanging trees that are in that lead to the gorge in the main ending, or the last
Wisteria
mission.
trees, I believe. is what
Yeah,
they're called.
wisteria trees. And you kill all these bad guys, and then you hear her voice say something. I can't remember specifically what. And Jin's like, what the hell? Am I having visions again? And then he goes back, and there's just a note and some supplies, and the note says something like, just something that kind of thanks you for helping. Oh, it says, if man is to heal, so must the land. I had that written down here. And I just thought that was a really cool, like, it's literally a 5-minute thing, but I just really liked it because it was very spooky. And then my favorite side mission, which frustrates me to this day to no end, is called The Impact of Loss.
Yes.
Did you not get both of them?
All right. That mission frustrated the crap out of me because, you know, you meet that little group of survivors and you meet a woman who has one arm. Because you go to this village because you were told by somebody you rescue, I think, that there was a monk who was helping people in that village survive and get supplies and food, and he was kidnapped by the Mongols, and those people rely on him. So you go there looking for people who can tell you where he is, and you meet this woman who has one arm, because your dad was super awesome during the big war on that island. So he was like, I'm just going to cut this lady's arm off.
She didn't need it anyway. She's got another one.
Yeah. So she tells you, like, not only did they take this monk, but there's, you know, my husband went out looking for him.
Wait,
I'm sorry. My husband went out looking for him.
It wasn't actually your dad that took her arm off.
No, but I mean,
it was her dad, which is even better.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh God, that's right. Because she helped the samurai.
Yeah, she helped a samurai, and her dad found out, and she's like, the arm that feeds the enemy, and he cuts his daughter's arm off.
And Jen is literally like, oh my God, that's so awful. And she's like, no, I get it.
Yeah, she's like, I deserved it.
So you're taking her with you, which is a horrible thing in my opinion, because as soon as you start seeing a trail of dead people that she recognizes, you're like, oh no. So you're going out looking for her husband, who went out looking for the monk. And then you get to a beach where there's a giant rock in the middle. And on one side, her husband is tied up, and on the other side, the monk is tied up. And Jen flat out says, the moment they know I'm here, they're going to kill one of them. And the mission doesn't even say, like, rescue them. It literally says, rescue one of them. Yeah, choose who you must rescue. Yeah. And I'm like, I hate this. So, you know, we were talking about the archery challenges earlier and how my whole build was pretty much became, you got to beat the archery challenges. So my focus slowdown mode was it was obnoxious by this point. I was able to kill all the Mongols before they were even able to be like, what? Like, so I was able to take them all out, and I was like, I did it, I saved them both. And so I go to untie her husband first, then go to the other side to untie the monk, and the monk is standing there like, you know, static, and then just falls. Because the game was like, how dare you circumvent this heavy choice we're trying to make. So I restarted, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna try again, and I couldn't do it again. And that's when you hear, I saved the husband because I was just too sympathetic towards the woman who was leading me to them. And yeah, they kill the monk right away. And it was like, it was this kind of choice that they make you make. They didn't make you make in the main story at all. And then just suddenly they drop something this heavy on you. And it was something that stuck with me towards the end of the Iki Island expansions, where I was just like, man, yeah, I'm glad I got my daddy issues sorted out, but still, like, this sucks.
I saved the monk.
I also
saved the monk because he was just going to do more for everybody else than just the husband for her.
Yeah,
I saved the husband.
I saved the monk only because that side seemed easier to potentially be able to get in and then save both. But
I don't care who I save. These guys just seem easier.
Yeah,
no, easier to not get caught.
I got spotted,
so I could get both sides.
Like I was trying to sneak in, I got spotted. I was like, fuck, I guess I'll save him.
Yeah.
So.
When you save the monk, does she tell you she's pregnant?
No. She tells you that she hates you, and then she fucking like walks away.
Yeah, well, when you save the husband, she's like, thank God I'm pregnant.
Yeah, and Jen is also like, if I had known, like, I wouldn't have let you come with me in the first place.
Yeah.
Just stabs her in the gut.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ. No, this
now you're not pregnant anymore.
So she doesn't like tell you you're a piece of shit for letting the monk die?
No. She's like grateful that we saved the husband.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Like, these people are gonna, you know, probably
she's the
death,
piece of shit.
Yeah,
that's
she's
right.
not.
Yeah,
she's
I
not,
mean,
she's
she-
not pregnant with the monk's baby.
Well, before you save
She
them,
might
she's like, no, you cannot save one or the other. You have to save both,
Yeah.
you fucking piece of crap.
I was like, all right, lady, whatever.
And when you save her husband, they literally just walk over to. It's one of those things where you this game, in my opinion, is incredibly polished, looks gorgeous, but you still see every now and then some of those things in this expansion that were definitely affected by the pandemic. And they're like, when I saved her husband, they were like, oh, I'm so happy you're alive. And they start walking over to the other side and they're like, all right, well, we have to, we have to bury him. We have to take care of his body. And they get there and they just walk up to him and they're standing like, they're in their standard standing animation. Then all of a sudden they both just go like onto their knees, like just like they had been crying for like hours. But if you do save the husband, they go over and they're sad that the monk is dead. But I don't know. After finding out she was pregnant, I couldn't reload it and go back and save the monk at that point.
Yeah.
That dude made his choice.
Can you let both die? Or will that be a mission fail?
Oh,
Just kill them
go
both
back and find out.
yourself.
Yeah, we could replay the mission.
Yeah, use your arrow skills and kill both of them, and then see what happens. And then turn and kill her.
Jesus.
Nobody
Go up
will
and
know.
shake the Mongol's hands.
This is Sparta.
You get back to the village and you're like, I did everything I could.
Yeah, they overran me, guys. I had to just get out of there. Just that's how it was.
Also, what about the Ghost of Iki?
Yeah.
That side quest was
Kenji.
great.
Yes, that was the
I
other one.
loved it.
The return of Kenji.
Yeah.
The goat, more like the goat of Iki, because Kenji, I loved him.
He's
I
fun.
love that he had his like understudy who was literally like seemed heartbroken to find out that Kenji wasn't this mythical badass. Yeah. And then you get to meet the man that Kenji owes money to, the Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys fight him?
No, because I
Mhm.
didn't choose that option. I chose
Ooh.
the not
Yeah.
or the
I
friendly
fought him-
one. Apparently,
Yeah.
I fought him later on the menu. You can still replay that duel even
Yeah.
if you
That's
didn't
how
play
I
it.
found out you could fight him.
Mhm.
Oh, I fought him.
Yeah,
I
I'm
fought
like,
him. I was
oh,
like,
what?
I fought
Why
this
can you
guy.
fight him? I'm like, I didn't fight him. Why can I replay a duel that I never did?
Which, by the way, how cool is it of Sucker Punch to let you be like, choose the option where you could talk your way out of this, but then still be like, but we'll let you replay the duel on the main menu anyway.
See, and I didn't
On
even
the
know I
map.
was talking my way out of it. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, seems like the
Yeah.
better option.
Yeah, just
I
saying
got
the
through
smart
that duel
thing.
super quick.
Yeah, he's not hard. But I do like that even though if you choose not to fight him, you can fight him by
Yeah.
replaying that. So
Yeah,
that
that's
was
cool.
really cool.
I thought, like, in a bunch of other moments where Jin got mad about people talking bad about Samurai, Jin was still going to be like, fuck you, man.
I that's the one thing I didn't like about the what was it? What are they called? The Mythic Tale, where you get the horse armor.
Yeah.
Is I hate that you find out about the horse armor and like instead of just letting it play out, Jin just walks up to the guy and goes, hey, stop talking bad about my dad. Do you know who I am? And thinking that it would work out well for him. And then like they're like, you're Jin Sakai, get the hell out of here. And they literally throw him out like he's Jazz on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mhm.
And like, and then he's literally sitting there like almost like, I can't believe they didn't tell me the rest of the story. Like
Gotta sneak
Gotta
in and hear
sneak
the
into
rest.
town.
Which, by the way, that little sneak-in section might have been one of the more difficult, like, don't get spotted things in the entire game.
Yeah, definitely. I would say so.
Yeah, at least I knew already exactly where to go in because I thought that was just the entrance. That's where I went in to begin with.
I
I knew
like
how to
the-
get in, but like I could not figure out where it wanted me to find like drop and
Yeah.
hide. I wound up like dropping close to the
Same.
fire a couple times. Like, oh, they found you. I'm like, well, no shit, but where the hell am I supposed to go?
I was like
I like-
walking all over the scaffolding up top, and it's like, no, can't go here.
You can't hear
Oh,
him
I
well
just went,
enough
I
from
just
here.
went through
Like,
the
oh.
side and like hid by a bucket or something.
Yeah, it's literally 5 feet away from where you were the whole time.
You need a
Like,
front row
okay.
seat, baby.
I like that the consequences, too, of this sneak mission are literally, don't get caught or they'll stop talking. Because, I mean, like, honestly, Jin is, armed to the teeth as a samurai. So if they do spot him, it's not like they're going to be like, get him. All he has to do is just stand up and be like, what are you going to do? I have like 15 swords. Like that's all, he could, destroy them. But I love that it's just like, don't get spotted or he'll stop telling his story. It's just getting to the good part, Jin.
The highest stakes in this game.
Mm-hmm. And then when you get the horse armor, you can go back and like save them from the Mongols.
Yep.
Who attacked them, if I remember.
Yep.
And they're like, wow, I can't believe you didn't kill us.
We still hate you.
You're not that bad after all.
Yeah, and Jin's probably just like, I should.
No, he's probably like, I didn't want them to kill you because that's my job. And he knows them all over the fucking house.
Are any of you pregnant? And he pulls out a knife.
Jesus Christ.
Flaming
Alex is
arrows. Come on.
in on
Flaming
it now.
arrows.
Oh man.
I do like the platforming section after that, going into the ships and trying to get all that. Is super fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually found that section when I was just exploring the island, because I literally got into a mode where I was trying to do all of the side stuff, and I even got so into it that I was like, I'm just gonna fill out the map. I'm gonna get rid of all these cloudy spots. And I ended up finding that platforming section before I got the tail. So it just wouldn't let me, like, whenever I would jump onto platforms that I was like, in the context of this game, I know I can land on these, and it just wasn't letting me at all. And that's when I was probably like, oh, I'm probably gonna have to do this for a story later. This looks like a story setup. And then I found the mythic tail, and that's when they were like, now go back to where you just were.
Yeah, there was a couple spots in that when you're traversing those busted up ships that it's just like I jumped and also I'm just doing like the weird glide and you just like shoots off into the. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there were there was one part on there that wasn't super clear about what you had to do either, because you have to look straight up to then grapple and pull down.
Yeah, like
something
one of them
to
masts
swing
or something.
on. Yeah, and then you're also sitting there going like, but how do I get on something high enough to swing on this?
Yeah. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Whatever. We found out eventually, so it was fine. My favorite little area was when you get the Raider helmet. So you go up on that tall mountain and you play the flute and fucking lightning strikes the mountain.
Oh yeah.
I just
Yeah.
The helmet is
like
dumb.
20
though,
minutes before
but,
we recorded. I got that. It was awesome.
that's where one of the pictures that I took right before we started. That's where that is.
I think my favorite little side thing because that's one of the things I like is to get the vanity pieces as well. Like a lot of the vanity pieces just came with really cool puzzles on what you had to do, even though they're not like, super intensive. It's just, you couldn't just walk up and be like, look, a hat. Like you had to actually do something,
There's
which I
a
thought was
couple
really
of them that were
cool.
like that. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a bandana on an arrow that's stuck in this guy's face on the ocean.
Not, hey, I got to jump off this cliff, hurt myself, then heal myself in front of the shrine, and boom, look at that. I got
I like,
Bloodborne armor.
yeah, I
That
like
shit was
those
awesome.
a lot.
What are you doing?
Yes. My favorite though was the hidden archery challenge at the memorial for raiders, where they were doing like an archery thing there, and they were like, this is a memorial to all the raiders who were killed by the great Tadayori Nagao, and I felt like such a dick, because as soon as he was like, we hate Tadayori now, he's an awful person because he
You
killed all
put the
these
armor
raiders. My Jin immediately goes, what if I just put on the armor? And then you're just standing there dressed as this dude who murdered all these people in these Krazier around. And the guy's like, take that off. And then instead of, killing you like you probably should, he was like, well, I bet that you can't beat our archery challenge. But that was all. That was one of my favorite like hidden things, and you find it purely by being a stinker.
Yeah, the only reason I found it is like I had gone to that area a couple of times, but then I was doing the archery challenges and I put the armor on just for the extra buffs for the archery challenges. And then it showed me when I put the traveler's attire on or whatever, that was the next area. And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? So I put it back on expecting, to do the challenge. And I was like, oh, maybe I unlocked it since I did all the other ones. It was no, just because of the armor. It's like those small little details like that is like so awesome. I love that. Just like all the other wind shrines and like the certain things that you have to wear and the certain things you have to do to unlock those armor sets, which is awesome.
I think it's really smart of them to like tie the charms to each armor set, right? So like when I came up to one of those archery challenges, I was able to switch to my archery armor, and all of the archery charms were already set on there to increase my concentration and whatnot. And when I wanted to go back to regular combat, all those charms were exactly where they needed to be. I kind of forgot that was in there, but it's very smart of them to tie charms to armor sets so that you can really specify a build.
That archer load with the Tadayori armor is stupid good too. Because I remember doing the first archery challenge and being like, how the hell am I going to do this in 7 seconds? There is no way. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, it took me about 3. Like, I had 4 seconds to spare.
Yeah, it makes you like feel powerful. That's what you're like. Yes, I'm playing this game the way they want me to play it. I'm building this out the way they want me to do it.
You can literally hit 7 of the 8 targets in your focus mode.
Yep.
Which it feels awesome. It reminded me of what was it called in Red Dead and Red Dead 2? I can't
Line
remember
of Sight.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the best part, playing the flute.
Yeah, that's
What do you guys think about playing the
we haven't
flute?
even talked about that. That is awesome.
So it's a great mini game.
Mhm.
They handle motion controls in a great way. Everybody, it's amazing. I've never seen it done before. Almost,
But it goes back to infamous Second Son and how like when that came out on the PS4 and they were really innovative with the use of the controller. That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, they're going back to how they were with Second Son and the graffiti, except now we're playing a flute.
Ryan's favorite game.
yeah.
And you should go back and listen to our exploration on it.
Is it Chris? Is it?
I think so.
Clearly it is.
It's a fun time. I got the platinum. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It's fun enough.
I enjoyed it. Better than Bugsnax.
I mean, that's true. But Bugsnax is still great as well.
Yeah. That's fair.
I just got a text from Marvel that said, "What the fuck did you just say?"
This Marvel guy sounds pretty smart. We still have a couple more questions from the community.
Yeah.
Rob asked who would win in a fight, Sekiro or Jin?
Jin. Because I'm biased. I've never played Sekiro, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Sekiro would definitely win. I think he fights supernatural shit. He does crazy fucking jump moves and shit that I don't think Jin could counter, but...
Yeah, I think Sekiro wins in a fight on Jin versus Sekiro, but Ghost of Tsushima versus Sekiro, I'd rather play Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah, Ghost is a
for
better
third
game, I
time.
think, for sure.
I have played Sekiro. I feel like the amount of time I put in, probably I didn't get very far compared to most folks who have played those series of games before. But I beat like 3 or 4 bosses. But I'm going to say Jin wins just because Jin doesn't die after 2 hits most of the time when I'm playing. So
Yeah, he's got the resolve. He's going to pound his chest and get back in there and get in the fight.
yeah. I mean, Sekiro, the dude's he dies a lot all the time.
Yeah,
Jin,
he
not so
dies and revives himself. And he also
Cheap.
has heals.
Cheap.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, when if Jin dies in combat, he can revive himself if he has some resolve.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Which I
he's not
mostly
dead,
use-
he's down.
I will tell you 9 times out of 10 when I have to use that, it's because I jumped off something too high.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Usually, when I jump off something that high, they're just like, "No, you don't even get that option, but
Yeah.
you're just dead."
I choose Ricky Maru wins in that fight.
Sure.
Did you guys talk about the wind shrines while I was gone a minute ago?
We'll say yes.
You're a liar. So you didn't talk about the wind shrines and the different things, scrolls that you have to do, and how you have to get
Oh, the little
different armor
puzzles?
sets. Huh?
The little puzzle things, like
Yeah.
riddles.
You just
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
do any of
the
those?
PlayStation armor stuff from the Legends?
Yeah, it was awesome. I love
All
it.
right.
There's like one you have to like wear your dad's armor and then pull out your sword in the stone stance, and that is the God of War armor. It's like that's pretty fucking cool. And then you have another
It
one.
would have
where
been
you have-
cooler if it wasn't already in the Legends mode.
Why you gotta be so fucking rude?
Just saying. It's like,
Come on, it's cool.
it's all right. I didn't wear any of them.
but I haven't completed any of them yet. So
Yeah, I don't
Go
know.
on.
I don't know. I found one of those, and I was just like, this sounds like smart people stuff. I'll go do something stupid like kill murder people. Like they have a ton of those in the Assassin's Creed games too, and I never get into them. Where they're basically like, I didn't realize they were just describing like wear this armor and do this stance or whatever. Usually they're like describing a very specific place on this massive map, and it's like I'm not gonna go look for
you
this
just have to
random place on this map.
wear something specific and do something specific is all that these were.
Yeah,
and
like
it's just all
Bloodborne
the
one is you have to like wear the Kensei armor and then throw a smoke bomb, I believe. And then there's another one for
there's the Shadow of Colossus one.
And I don't remember what that one is, but it's the easiest one to get.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was like a week and a half ago.
Brian also asked the most important question: if you were a ghost, who would you be most excited to hunt? Very relevant.
Tyler.
I would Ghostbuster your ass so fucking fast, man. You wouldn't even know that.
I'd be running around his house as a chicken, trying to scare him.
I'd put you in the coop with the other chickens.
I'm a ghost.
He's a ghost, man. How are you gonna cage him like that?
The Ghostbusters chicken coop. Can't get out of it.
I'd literally just be in Ollie's room, like telling him to do things.
You wouldn't have to tell him to do it. He's probably already be doing it himself.
I would most like to haunt my high school math teacher. Don't read anything into that answer, Brian.
I'm gonna have to. What?
Brian's a math teacher.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm
Ryan
still
just
gonna. I'm
hates
gonna read
anything
into
that
that.
has to do with math.
I would also like to haunt.
I love
my
math.
hate
high school
math.
math teacher.
It's just a Brian joke.
I would haunt. I'd probably either haunt like a stadium, or just so like I'll just I'll haunt Ford Field. In
Would you
Detroit,
haunt the
so I
Lion
just-
Stadium?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll just haunt the Lion Stadium so I can be.
That's
miserable.
already haunted.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could be miserable in the afterlife too, or I'll just
They're already dead there, so
or I'll just I don't know. I'll haunt like a movie studio or something.
I'm surprised you wouldn't haunt like an old Blockbuster that hasn't been rented since it closed.
Just be
All
lonely in a
Blockbusters are haunted.
blockbuster.
yeah, he's not just gonna sit there with nobody.
Oh, lonely in a Blockbuster band.
No, there's that last Blockbuster. Isn't that still open in like Wyoming or something?
Bend, Bend,
I watched-
Oregon.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on it.
Yeah.
I would probably haunt, I don't know, like some big streamer that plays all the new games, because presumably I can't play new games now. I want to at least see them forever.
You wouldn't. I mean, you could haunt a game studio.
Yeah, but they only make one game every like 5 years these days.
They occasionally hear a voice, like a weak voice, going like, "Work faster." God, it's the ghost.
Transactions.
It's the Crunch Ghost.
Oh, it's the sexual harassment lawsuit ghost.
Oh. You don't get to cringe about the stabbing pregnant women joke ever again.
Yeah, when he jokes about stabbing pregnant women, I think everything's on the table at that point.
Over a year in, you don't think anything's off the table at this point, Tyler?
You never know.
A baby shower.
Where it's like raining babies.
Got like a golden shower on babies.
Anyway,
Bye. I got a Warthog brand. I got to protect here, and I can't be around for.
We didn't talk about the Legend of Black Hand Riku. That's some very cool scenery in that cave.
We were talking about how Jid's father had some of the best lines in the game. Black Hand Riku has the best line in this expansion, and that's right when your duel starts. Jin and him are squaring up, and Jin goes, "You're blind. This isn't a fair fight," and he goes, "No, it isn't." And I was just like, "Oh God, I'm gonna lose." I've been watching Daredevil. I know what you can do.
I was waiting for the monkeys to jump out and start biting me during the duel.
Yeah,
His armor set is so badass too, and how it like decreases your parry and dodge, but like if you get a perfect dodge or a perfect parry, it gives you that extra like hit.
it's just
you think you get 2 extra hits, so you get
so you can literally kill like 3 guys because you can kill one with the parry, then kill another guy, and then kill another guy.
It's great.
I love it because the trade-off is like you get to have the best ability in the game, but you have to have a giant monkey on your head.
You don't have to wear the giant monkey, you just need to have the chest piece.
that has giant monkeys on the shoulders.
Well, on the shoulders, but you don't have to have the big stupid one that's
But
sitting
you
on
can
your
get
head.
a different dye set for it, and it looks awesome. It's like
Mhm.
orange and
Yeah, it looks like a
green, I
different
think.
black and gray. And
Fuck, your game sounds boring. I don't like it. So colorless, devoid of just fun.
Yeah, those the wisteria trees, the pictures you posted from the forest in the gorge with all the purple trees. My mom loved that photo, by the way. And I was like, "Yeah, that's from a video game." She's like, "Oh, do you think that's one I'd like to play?" And I'm like, I
Probably not.
don't know. I don't know about that, Bob. You played
Probably
Tetris
not.
Effect, and you don't even touch the triggers or the bumpers, so I don't know about.
all right, anybody got any other bits and bobs before Haiku Corner?
This is good. This is really good. It is worth the money to get into the DLC. If you enjoyed
Yeah.
the base Tsushima game, this is worth every penny.
Yeah.
The upgrade to PS5 and a DualSense controller is worth it purely because you can feel the cats purring whenever you pet them.
God
What
damn,
else do I
really
need to say?
Hey, those cats are heckin' chonkers, man.
Yeah, they are fat.
I was like,
I thought they were like,
"God damn, what
I
is
thought
this
they were like
strange
red
music?"
pandas when I first saw them. I was like, what the fuck is going on? That's a cat?
Yeah, those
I
are
don't know.
those are some healthy fucking cats. Somebody
Maybe they're
feed
just
these cats.
fluffy.
A mild warning to anybody who does play this game. I did encounter one dead cat around Mongols, and I have never gone so hard on an enemy in this game. Like, because when I saw it, and then like I had my camera pan up, and I just saw them standing around, and I was like, "Oh my!" Like ghost mode immediately.
All right. So, Haiku Corner, you guys got your haikus ready?
I'm ready.
We can go back to the old way and I can do Ryan's voice, but I don't know what his haikus are.
I'm here. We're good.
All right. First, we got Reflect on Regret. I have Waters Dancing Down, Crushing Stone into Pebbles. The past weighs on us. Ryan?
Spring begets new life, broken by unyielding stone. Streams never flow back.
Tyler?
Shade for the dying. My father's hand reaching up. Life's sweet perfume fades.
Chris?
Is that?
Yeah, is that the right one?
I think so.
I think you read death, not regret.
Yeah, that's death.
Yeah.
It's regret.
The one that
Oh,
you
sorry.
get with the
Sorry, I did
regret
fuck that up. Sorry.
bandana.
me.
I was like, oh man, how do we get three that have nothing in common? That's
Flowers somehow bloom. A summit looms too distant. Streams never flow back.
seems a little more on point. Chris?
Yeah, that's regret.
Mine's actually very close to yours, Tom. Waters dancing down, crushing stone into pebbles. Streams never flow back.
Alex?
And we all really like that last line. Spring begets new life, crushing stone into pebbles, streams never flow back.
Turning into
Although the
ASMR.
real haiku of regret was Tyler reading the wrong one. But
Yeah, would you like to compose a haiku of regret on the spot for your regret, Tyler?
I regret being on this podcast.
somebody start moaning like the lady in the song.
I don't think that
But we
quite
don't.
works. I'm counting the syllables there.
All right. So next we'll do Reflect on Solace. I have wind through a dead tree. Moss clings to a home too harsh till peace comes at last. Ryan?
Very close, Tom. I had weeping rivulets. A moss clings to a home too harsh till peace comes at last.
Tyler?
Weeping rivulets, bedrock laid bare to the sun, the roar and embrace.
Chris?
Mine was also very close to both of yours. Unreachable sky. Moss clings to a home too harsh till peace comes at last.
Alex?
Wind through a dead tree, moss clings to a home too harsh, the roar and embrace.
Oh, no snapping for this one?
Yeah, not memorable.
All right. Reflect on acceptance. Leaves whisper nearby. A forest open to all. Sunsets head to dawn.
Fuck.
Ryan.
A head of spears shifts, a forest open to all, while the cat lounges.
Tyler.
What Tom said.
Really? Wow.
It's verbatim.
This is the first one. Chris.
This
Not
is
bad. We're doing all right.
acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
A head of spears shifts, white buds shimmering, exposed. The vine wilts, but lives.
Alex.
This was my favorite one. A head of a spear shifts. A good friend lost to grazing while the cat lounges.
All right. And the final one that we do at the end, reflect on death. Hiding in darkness, my father's breath subsiding, free at last from life. Ryan?
I realized I just had a typo in here. I'm going to read it with the typo.
Yes.
Petals soaked with blood, my father's breast subsiding.
That's hot. That's hot.
Free at last from life.
Damn my father's breasts. Tyler?
I already read this one, but shade for the dying. My father's hand reaching up, life's sweet perfume fades. I think that's it.
Chris?
What Ryan said without the typo.
No breasts on your father?
No.
Very nice
there.
breaths.
Alex?
What Ryan said with the typo.
Wow, we got a
Typos.
three person on that. All right. Well, and that's our version of Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island DLC.
Give it a score.
Oh yeah,
I got a
Can't
score.
We're gonna score.
I've got a score.
I got a score.
No, but we don't have to give it a score.
We do.
We weren't at the score
That's what we
portion
do
of
on
the
this
night.
show, Tom.
Yeah.
What else were we going to talk about?
You were ending it.
Ending it. That was
That's
just
our
beginning.
version of
we
Iki
have
Island
another
was not
2
your
hours.
ending.
Yeah. That's the beginning. All right. What's your score?
Who are you asking?
Anybody?
Chris, what's your score?
875.
Ryan?
Even 4.
9 out of 10.
Tyler?
9.5.
Alex?
I mean this partially and impartially. Honestly, a 10 out of 10 for me. It just is more perfect added on top of perfect.
I went 9.25.
Too low.
Mr.
Chris's was the
875.
lowest. I don't know why am I too low.
What do you think? This game's unplayable?
Oh, it's not Chris Tales.
7.5. Might as well throw it in the trash.
Why would I even buy it? I'm gonna go harass their community manager.
I lied. Not worth the money. Actually, take it back.
All right. Well, Alex, you got anything to plug? Your warthog chasing?
Yes, it's called Timon and Pumbaa Review Club. No, yeah, I'm on YouTube at Werehog Review Club. I review games really fast and absolutely not based on their merit. And I'm on Twitter at Clobbering Time, spelled like the herb, where I complain about wrestling and post logos and art that I make.
It's really good
Do
art,
you-
everybody.
do
He
you-
didn't make
yeah, do-
ours, but he made a lot of them.
Yeah,
Do
not
you
for
do
this
art
podcast.
of you complaining about wrestling?
I could.
Mm.
It'd just be a big turd, though.
with like a luchador's mask on,
Just big angry eyebrows.
or just like a turd in the spandex, like as a person.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
But enough about The Rock. I'm sorry, Dwayne. Don't come find me.
Don't come find me on as big as your
Whoa,
leg.
you guys are on a first name basis? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler?
Yeah, we do Wasted every Saturday at 6 Eastern. We are playing The Ascent. It's been okay. We're having
Very excited about this, I can tell.
It's okay. I mean, we're having a good time. We're all doing it. We're drinking. We're playing games. We're having a good time. And then we do the Last Call podcast directly afterwards, where we talk about what we just did, and then we talk about any other shit that we did throughout the week. It's our What kind of show would you call that?
Is it
A
Variety.
Catch-all.
variety show. It's our
we do
variety
skits
show.
or something? We should do skits.
We could.
Seems like variety shows.
We can
have
do whatever we
skits.
want.
It's your podcast.
It's a multimedia show. We just talk about whatever
Anything.
we're playing, movies, we're watching, anime, books we've been reading. I did a book. I was talking about a book that I was reading last time. So it's good stuff.
Ryan.
Definitely just check out our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Spelunkers, for all of the streams we do. That's where you can find Wasted. But join our Discord. It's linked in all of our shows. Got a great group of people just talking about games or talking about the games we discuss, like right here, the Iki Island expansion. We'd like more people to play games with. We'd like to play with our community. It's a good time.
Real quick, my dog farted and it smells so fucking bad in here right now.
Is that a plug for your dog's farts?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, come
Sounds
get
like
some
the dog
dog
needs a
farts.
plug.
She is so cute. But I was sitting here, I was like, man, it's what is that smell? And then she just like looked up at me. She's nasty. She's
Oh.
go ahead.
Chris, what do you got? You got any farts happening?
No, not in here. Probably out there, outside the door.
It
Yeah,
smells
I'm
like fucking dog farts in here.
I understand.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Chamber of
please,
dog farts right now.
please subscribe to Dog Farts. Thank you, everybody.
Like a hot dog water.
No, please give us a sub on YouTube. If you're listening to this on YouTube, then just sub, please. If you're listening to the audio version, we'll link the video in the description. We would appreciate it. We're trying to get to 50 right now. I could read you the link, but boy, is it long, and it's a lot of letters and numbers because we got to hit 50 before we can name our channel properly. So
Oh, for the love.
Which will be dog farts.
Could be.
Yes. Dog.
And I try to do things, but not very frequently. Sometimes on Mondays at like 5 Central, I do draw this, where I draw things that nobody has put any sort of new ideas in that channel.
I will give you 1,000 One Piece ideas right now if you want me to.
That was my probably best one, was doing Luffy, but
you didn't draw Tyler and Amaterasu, and everybody gave
I'm
up.
not fucking doing that. I'm not doing that.
Draw the second piece.
I don't know what the One Piece.
yet.
I don't even know what the One Piece is. I'm only on fucking episode 50.
I've watched 989 episodes. I don't know what the One Piece is either.
It's that one piece you're missing out of the jigsaw puzzle box.
Ryan wants me to draw Naruto, apparently.
Yes.
I saw that. And then Thursdays, on ones we don't record, I try to do Convince Me, but I don't know. That's a thing.
We got kids. It's hard.
Yeah. 4
Kids are back
kids
in
in school. So sometimes stuff happens. Go in the Discord, you'll find out. And our next exploration will be Phantasy Star 4.
Ba, 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 ba. Going retro.
Big retro.
I think
Yeah.
I'm the only spelunker that has played a Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star Online does not count as part of this Phantasy Star.
Well, then, yes.
It does. It totally does. In fact, it's the only one that really matters. If I had to pick one. Yeah, I said it.
It's
I'm
too
just
late to
being
invite
fancy.
Alex.
So also on our next exploration, we will have Alex fighting Bob Buell.
I'm just kidding.
Get your pay-per-view tickets.
Yep.
Nah,
Cage match.
Fancy Star 4 rules.
But yes, Bob Buell will be joining us for our exploration.
Who
of
else would
Phantasy
you
Star
get?
4. That was my idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for tonight. Listen to our stuff. Watch us do stupid things. And
Almost
remember
exclusive.
always that we get exhausted by talking because we're chunky and we're nerds.
Right.
See you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Penny.
Fart.
Bye, Penny.